Okay. I talk to aliens. I I realized I've been talking to aliens, but I understand what they were doing, and we're gonna talk about it once people. If you're watching this back later, just skip ahead and try to. I start talking. I'm gonna grab the guitar. Okay, hello. I'm just waiting for a couple more people to join, and then we're gonna talk about what they told me. I I'm no dummy. It took me a little bit to understand because I was more along the lines of show yourself, show yourself, show yourself. It didn't really hit me what was going on, but I know what happened. I know what they were showing me, and when a couple more people join, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm just looking for my capo for my guitar first. We're gonna go back out. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Hear the bird. Did you hear the bird right to left? We're gonna talk about it. I had to sit in the camper and think for a little bit about why they could be doing something so obvious, and every time they've been obvious in my past about what that really truly means. So let me just get my capo from my car. Bear with me for a second, and then I'm gonna talk about it. Is my capo in there that I can see? Just to see if yeah. Well, we don't need the capo. Okay, I'm just waiting for more people to show up. I doubt they will, but once I get back into the camper, I'm gonna talk about it, I swear. I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Um, how many of you guys were around in 2024? Around the same time, I think it was August or late July of 2024, I had experience with aliens. Where I was laying behind the Capitol building. Okay. Just grab this and I'll tell you what they said. So from my perspective, I was like, are you benevolent? Are you good? Why are you showing yourself? My capo's just magically here on my bed, even though my guitar isn't. That's kind of weird, but okay. So in 2024, I was laying behind the Capitol building in Vermont. I don't think I had service on my phone at the time, and I woke up and everything felt liminal. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. Nobody had come to work yet, and I felt nothing felt real. It felt like the back rooms. I was just in the back rooms. I was like, "Am I even alive? What is this?" And then I could see very clearly something big out there in the woods, up the hill a little bit, but like maybe 15 feet from me up a little hill. I was in the garden behind the Capitol building, sleeping against the Capitol building, curled up in a tarp, hiding so that I could charge my phone and be safe from the violence. And something big, like 8 feet tall, walked out from behind a tree. I saw it spiritually. I could see it as if reality just wasn't real, and I could see it clear as day. And it picked up a log and it smacked it 3 times against a tree. It wanted me to move, so I moved against the wall, and then it tipped a giant tree over. And I was like, that's fucking weird. Was it a show of force? The same way that I was like, are they bad? Are they bad? Is that bad? Why did you chuck a rock in front of my face, left to right? Why did you chuck a rock at me? Why did you knock that tree over? And then I kept walking. When I woke up later that day, I kept walking and I found a tarp was just laying at the bottom of the hill behind the Capitol building. There was just a tarp there, and the tree got knocked over by what looked like an 8 foot tall being. That night, there was a snap where I felt something go grab the tarp. So I went and got the tarp, and then immediately flash flood. So I was able to put the tarp over the tree, and I was able to survive a flood by hiding under the tarp, under the tree that got knocked over, so I could lay the tarp over the tree. And I have that on my channel. If you go back to the fall, like August or late July 2024, you can see when I'm in the thunderstorm, it's really bad. It flooded a lot of places, and I was safe under the tarp. Tomorrow we have tornadoes coming. Where I am is going to be hit by tornadoes and 75-mile-per-hour wind and hail. And I'm in a camper on a mountaintop. Do you understand why the aliens chucked that rock in front of my face to show me the importance of getting away from the tornadoes tomorrow? Is it clicking? I thought that they were mad. I thought it was evil and bad. Why did you chuck a rock left to right in front of my face? They're telling me, get the fuck out of here while the tornadoes are coming. Is it making sense? I went out and said, are you aliens? I got a UFO right to left. I'm talking to it, asking it questions, demanding a response. When I get to, if you're a greater intelligence than us, you have the responsibility to be benevolent. If not, something higher than you has the responsibility to stop you from being bad. And then a rock, a big rock like this, right in front of my face, whoosh, smacks on the ground next to me, down and rolls down the hill. Do you understand? I thought, reasonably, I was like, so they're not good, or they're saying, stop sticking your head out of the forest, stop saying the dark forest where you stick your head. I don't want to fucking hear about Jesus. Listen, I asked if it was aliens, and I got right to left. That thing in the sky identifies as an alien. Deal with that first. Then we can get into Jesus. Disclosure Day addresses that. I asked if it was aliens, right to left. I'm talking to the aliens, which I talk to often. I get shooting stars. So does Demon Hunter. I'm saying if you're greater than us, you have the responsibility to be good to us. And if you're not, then something greater than you has the responsibility to make up for that by getting you out of the picture. And then a rock, a boulder from my pile of boulders for landscaping here, flings, which means it was right next to me, behind the car. Whoosh! Hits a tree, rolls down the hill. I'm freaking out. Like, that's fucking bad. That's the negative response. That's bad response. Bad negative response. Bad, bad. Why was it so violent? Why was it so aggressive? When I got back to the car, or into the camper here, it dawned on me there's a tornado warning tomorrow where we're getting hit with 75-mile-per-hour winds and hail. And I'm in a camper on a mountaintop surrounded by dead trees and boulders. It was a warning that the rocks are going to be flung. And I need to leave and get out of the storm. I need to leave this place tomorrow. I need to shovel my shit pile, put all my valuables in the car, leave it, go down there for the day. Just go south for the day. I have like $40 in gas. I'm going to go south for the day, outrun the storm. When it's over, come back. Do you know what Isn't it clicking? Like, oh, fuck, duh. I'm fucking retarded. I thought it was a bad thing. They were warning me about the tornado tomorrow. And the only reason that dawned on me is because I was laying in bed, just like this, and then all of a sudden, flash of light right outside the window, tornado warning, and then what I just posted on my YouTube, on my post, when I said that there was a tarot video, I was listening to the tarot video. If you watch that video, she says the crows, and that makes me think bad, bad. But then when she goes, you are surrounded by angels right now. You're really protected by angels. That's when I saw the whoosh, and then tornado warning, and then the rock. I suddenly learned the rock was them showing me, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Don't be on a mountaintop during a tornado in a camper. I'm stupid and naive, and I thought God will just protect me, right? It's saying better safe than sorry. Go on a trip tomorrow. Go south. Don't leave your car where it can get damaged by hail when you already have a crack in the windshield, and don't be on a mountaintop in a camper during a tornado. So, if that's not piquing your ADHD, if you're watching this and you're not like, wake up. You can do it too. Go out there and just be righteous. Demon Hunter, can you tell them that after I told you how to get the shooting stars, that you've gone outside and asked for shooting stars and gotten them? That you have literal communication with something that's capable of creating shooting stars in the sky? Yeah, one time Demon Hunter asked for a shooting star, and then in the middle of the night, a bird flew right above her head, and she went, "What?" And then where she looked, a shooting star. Bam. She asked for a shooting star, and the bird showed her, "We can do it, but over here." Bam. Aliens just warned me to get out of the way of a tornado tonight. What to do with that? I thought you're getting this obvious. It must be that disclosure day is coming, but I was like, no, this is the third time that I've had an extra dimensional being do something in my physical environment right before a natural disaster. In 2024, they knocked a tree down, and then there was a tarp left near me, and then I was told to grab the tarp, and then as soon as I grabbed the tarp, we got a flash flood that I didn't know was happening because something was going on where either I deleted the weather so that I could keep my videos or something. I just wasn't checking the weather and I didn't have notifications on. Or I didn't have service and I upload. Oh, that's why I was behind the Capitol building, was because I didn't have service and they had public Wi-Fi. That makes sense. It's reminding me about all the Ians in my life right now. That Ian was the guy that asked for money in a. That's why he died. He completely lost the plot of Obsession because he got his $1 million wish and then he forgot that Nikki was being abused by Bear because of his bad wish. And then I was shown 144 from the Stars Tarot his ego got too much because of the money he was getting, and now he's gone. Something's happening with Ian. And then I was also shown that the song "You Never Take Me to Bangladesh" by Ian McConnell. That's what I've been listening to, is Ian McConnell's album. It just reminded me of like 6 Ians at once. And that disclosure day takes place at the KC station. I didn't know I could ask in case you show me a good incredible miracle. I don't think it's a miracle. I think it's science. And the miracle, I mean, it's probably Interstellar, where when he goes into the black hole, he realizes that it was humanity the whole time, evolved into a point where they can operate outside of time. So what we think are our angels are actually humanity and aliens. Why would they hide the? So someone, for people watching back later, if you made it through me just fucking around on the guitar, somebody said, "Hope all those like-minded fellas out there are having a good night. You too, man. Only channel I relate to and look to watch. You know, I see the connections and the attempt to hide it too, man. That makes it seem like it's a war on consciousness and that something is fighting to wake us up against something that doesn't want us to wake us up. I think it's more like something is fighting to make sure that we're ready, and something wants to speed up the process. I don't think it's negative as much as it's hesitant, but I think that the negativity comes from us. I think that we're the opposing force. Same with consciousness of humanity reject a greater idea. I think it's us. Well, something just said it's not, and that it is some type of negative entity that wants to get in. Okay, so it's that too. Because suddenly the good feeling made me cough up the vape, saying they can't help my throat chakra because I'm fucking it up with the vape, and that's by design. And that it, but that is us. We're doing that to. I mean, by us, I mean humanity is creating things to block our chakras. But I mean, it is something that's like as soon as I put the vape down, something was like drink the soda, drink the like you saw me twitching. Something was really trying to get me to drink the soda. So it is something negative guiding our impulses that it revealed itself when I addressed it. That's just in the room. And when people that are lonely experience it the worst because they lose track of who they really are, and then they're just being guided by their impulses because loneliness in itself destroys presence and consciousness, as in like being awake and conscious of your decisions, not consciousness necessarily as consciousness itself, but I mean when you're conscious of your decisions versus being unconscious. Being lonely destroys consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Lonely people have it the worst. Disclosure, the movie was I'm good. You sure you seen? Hey John, where does Disclosure Day take place? What was the name of the news station? And Do you remember when the main girl walked into the place and she addresses a list of names before she remembers the thing that changes everything? What was the list of names before she went in? She addresses three people before she walks in to remember, which gets her to the point where she can do the thing. She addresses three people before she goes because she can telepathically understand who those people are and their significance. And then go back through my channel and listen to me go, no, 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 no. Disclosure Day. Yeah, it was the KC station. The whole movie takes place in Kansas City, KC, and just on the outskirts of KC. The whole movie Disclosure Day takes place in KC. And the names was the names of my ex, the names of Schemy, Slimy, Smelly Ethan, and Nathan. KCXE station, which X is 10 and E is 5, so it's just KC6. 11 3, technically it's 113105, but that's just 11136, and 6 is 33, so it's KC33, basically. That's the hidden gematria of it. And eventually, you guys will be like, you fucking schizo loser. 1,000 years from now, they'll see it. Maybe even just 100 years from now, they'll see it. The money I was watching months on, like, oh my god. That money I was watching months on, like, oh my god, if you ever want to watch stuff, watch solar movies. Glad of any pop-ups. Just watch 123 movies, and 123 movies 9, and there's a shit ton of pop-ups. The song Schizo Loser. Kind of. I wrote it. Well, I hear voices in my head. It gets worse when I get out of bed. And I don't trust that I'll find a love who understands. So leave me be and let me smoke my cigarettes. Deep inside, I'd rather be dead. Cause I make choices that lead to dead ends, led by a broken mind afraid of itself. And I just can't find no one who can look at me with respect. Cause the cops gave me trauma, and the crows ate the rest. I don't know how to be human again, so don't talk to me. Cause I'm tired of pretending all good things should end. Well, it's been hard to catch my breath, running from knowing I won't see you again. But sometimes something way out there says to be grateful for the simple little moments we spend. Maybe it's better that you're a voice in my head. Well, all these in my head gets comprehend. And they tell me one day you'll see me somewhere way out there with the best. You'll all come back and wanna be my friend, but for now I'm a monster that haunts at 3 a.m. I just feel bad for him. At the end of the day, they're the schizo losers. At the end of the day, they're the schizo losers. And they're retarded. I just want it like I'm aware to this shit going on. I don't want it like I'm aware to the shit going on. I don't know what that means, man. I don't want it like, Doc, I'm aware to the shit going on right now. I don't know what that means, bro. I can't decipher that right now. But it's true. And the weirdest thing is that they're jealous. They put those hate comments because they're jealous of me for something. There's something about me they're jealous of, so they have to destroy it. They think that if they can do something to me, it'll validate a change in themselves. I want it on the third fret, actually. Did they actually touch down? So I went outside pissing. I look up and I go, "Are you guys aliens?" Warm, loving light shines suddenly. It's not like it shines, it's more like a fire or a flamethrower or something. And then it brushes gently right to left and then disappears right where I looked. So I go, okay. Well, that was obvious, so thank you, first of all. Are you benevolent? Nothing. Are you good? Implying, like, are you, even though you're conscious and you're sentient and you're at least greater than what the world is leading us to believe, whatever this is, are you good? Nothing. Radio silence. So I go, if you're not good, I think if you were better than us, you have a greater responsibility to be good. And if you're not, I'm certain that something greater than you is and wouldn't let you be. A boulder about this big, so this is my head, like this big, whoosh, right by my head, right to left or left to right, which is the negative thing. When I said right to left for yes, left to right for no, whoosh, right in front of me. I panic and I go live, and I'm trying to figure out what it means. I get back into the camper, I sit down, and I'm laying here, and then I'm watching the tarot video. The first thing she says is crows. Something about crows. And it was a tarot video that it uploaded right when I had that interaction with the aliens. So the video goes on. I'm just laying here listening to it, being like, okay, I can see the numbers, I can see the sound. Like, the whole thing that just happened was pretty obvious. Violently, she gets to a point where she goes, "You are surrounded by angels protecting you." And then I see a light right outside the window there. Whoosh, the same warm light that was up there. Warm light right there, not in the sky where I'm like, are you up there? It was just right there. And then I hear tornado warning, and I remember that tomorrow we're going to have a tornado. If you look at my posts, I posted the map. I'm right in the range, like almost dead center, where we're going to have tornadoes and 75-mile-per-hour winds tomorrow, and hail, huge hail. It wasn't bad, as in stop fucking talking to us, don't wake up, don't break the matrix. It was saying tomorrow you're going to be hit with a fucking tornado and you're surrounded by dead trees and a bunch of boulders. 75-mile-per-hour winds will just knock right in and kill you. Get the fuck out of here. I don't believe that in the middle of the night you have a dozen crows on your deck. But also yesterday, there was a bunch of crows, and then I hit refresh on my YouTube, and then or I think I was live. Something happened where there was a crow, and then I got a note. Maybe my live ended or something, and then there was a crow, and then I look on my phone, and then it was a video by Divine Phoenix Rising Tarot, which I don't really watch, but he pops up at random like once a year, and it was the Morrigan doesn't choose everybody. Why are you here? And it was a picture of a crow right to left, which I've never seen. I never see pictures of crows right to left, especially in YouTube thumbnails, the tarot videos. It's always left to right. So for a crow right to left, I was like, that's weird. And then I look at the title of the video, and it said the Morrigan doesn't choose everybody. The Morrigan is the Celtic goddess of war, and her spirit animal is the crows. So whether it's like actually real, or it's symbolism, or it's the only way for something greater to meet me where I'm at, I haven't watched it yet. But then the next day, because I'm thinking about crows, I'm like, maybe crows are good, and then my mind naturally goes to Vikings probably worshipped crows because crows are intelligent, and crows knew if they lead Vikings to other people and let them ambush, crows, like, they might not know the whole thing, but they know if they do this, they lead the Vikings to the people they kill. The crows have corpses to eat. So that's kind of where my mind goes with like Norse paganism, worshiping crows and saying it's a sign from Odin. Some part of me thinks that, yeah, there is something more going on, but it could also be, that's the main proof that I'm not just a crazy person, is that I approach it scientifically like a devil's advocate. I'm like, maybe I know there was obvious signs that crows were communicating and then guiding, but it could just be that they learned that if when the crows do that, they get corpses after the Vikings are done with what they do, and they loot the bodies. They leave the corpses behind for the crows to eat. But what ended up happening is the next day, somebody in his Facebook, his last name is Viking. He's like really proud of being a Norse pagan. It's like his whole thing. And I was like, that's, but he's putting up on Marketplace a speaker for really cheap. I'd say I don't have enough. I know it's already really cheap, but I don't have enough. Can you take what I have? And he's like, sure. So I get there, and then when I get there, he has a MIDI keyboard, he has a microphone, and he's like, yeah, I saw you're a musician. You can just have them. So I was like, this is everything I need to start making music. Like, you've changed the trajectory of my life. Thank you so much. And he plays his music for me, and it's some of the best music I've ever heard. Like, the whole time I'm listening, I'm like, this has to be AI. This has to be AI. I don't believe that this guy's making this music in BandLab on a condenser mic with no studio speakers. But it is. It's him. And he's got the same name as one of the tenants that were in my house when I was born. When the family got a triplex, one of the daughter's names, he's the male version of the daughter's name. And then that name popped up when I was 4, and then again when I was 8, and then again um, when I was in institutions, and then again my ex cheated on me with a guy with his name, and then 3 years later when I was on King Street in the shelter, I was trying to help a homeless kid with his name. Every kind of 3 years, the name shows up again. So I knew that the Viking symbolism was bad, but the name was significant. So I was like, that's bad, 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 Viking bad. And then I go there and he gives me a whole bunch of stuff for free. And he's the best music I've heard in a long time. Aliens warned me about an incoming tornado and told me to get the fuck out of here. So I have 40, and somebody sent me $40 specifically for gas yesterday. So I'm going to be able to actually get out of this tornado and hailstorm. I'm just going to drive my car south. I'm going to calculate $40 is 10 gallons. I can drive 200 miles, so I can go at least 80 miles south to be safe. And I'll just like hide under a bridge for the night or something. I'll put the bed in the car and go. I bet I'm going to show up and all my stuff that I got, all the cool shit that I got is just going to be destroyed and the camper's going to be crushed or something. I hope not, but it's going to be 75-mile-per-hour winds tomorrow. I don't think I've ever experienced 75-mile-per-hour winds. You guys tell me, what sounds more like the natural rhythm of the earth? Or triplets, threes? Do I think aliens use people like avatars? I have a bunch of garbage in my head from things like XCOM, the game XCOM, which was my favorite game when I was in institutions because when I had the at one point when I was 17, I had my own apartment above the shelter. It was called the Transitional Living Program, and I had it for like 4 months, or maybe just one summer. I was working at Dunkin' Donuts, and I was able to stay up there. And they had a Vizsla that they taught. Vizslas are like really intelligent dogs. It knew how to open doors, and so it would open up my door and come upstairs because we weren't allowed to lock our door. So it would just come upstairs to visit me every morning, and I'd go out and play with it. Chili, no, that was Goose. Chili was the Vizsla before Goose. It was Goose and Maggie. Maggie was like an Anatolian or something that would follow Goose around, and Goose was so smart it would like be able to take care of Maggie, who was kind of dumb. But they were like conscious, and they were really conscious dogs. They were very intelligent, and I think Goose rubbed off on Maggie. XCOM is about that you have to XCOM 2 specifically is you have to stop the aliens from the Avatar project. It fully creates a human being that can completely harness the aliens' genetics and the humans' genetics. It's like the perfect bridge between both. And I'm pretty sure that the whole thing is that it's um, controlled by it has the humans' power and the aliens' power, but the aliens are able to control the human body more than just like it's like an enhanced version of people. So a lot of things is like they say the Greys want to hybridize humanity. Like the end of the day, alien disclosure and revealing aliens is all a big psyop so that the reason that they have Jinxie shirtless and shaking his dick in front of like 8-year-old kids on the internet every single day. Like the reason they over sexualize content is not for clicks and hormones and like capturing kids' attention. It's about desensitizing them to sexual boundaries and taboos for the eventuality that aliens might look like us and also want to fuck us for our genetics. That's something going around that like the tall Nordics are real and they look just like us, but they're more humanoid. Maybe that they came down and they're like an offset species of Viking, like what Norse people became, that said that the aliens came down and fucked them. Like a lot of cultures talk about aliens coming down and fucking them. Pretty even the Bible, I think, talks about the fallen angels sleeping with women, right? I think that one of the biggest things about aliens is that I think they want to fuck us, and they're trying to make it more normalized. Like, what if aliens come down and say the only way to keep our species alive is to reproduce with you? We'd be like, fuck no, but like 2 more generations of Jinxie programming kids, plus the aliens like making it worth our while somehow, like they look nice. That could be a thing. I'm not saying it is a thing. I'm not saying it's not a thing. I'm saying that that's kind of going around. I mean, yeah, Jinxie just like he starts his stream where he's basically stripping for children. He like takes all his clothes off and he shakes his dick around on the camera. And I only know that because when I'm scrolling, he pops up. And I'm like, why are they like why are people so mad at e-beggars but Jinxie is like molesting children's minds through content. Even Queso is compromised. Half of the shit Queso says is like really, really sexual and in a feminine way. Because Queso's main audience are girls. It's really cool to see that like the generation after me, even the girls are playing video games and watch Markiplier. Like even the like Indy Navarrete, who's hot as fuck from Obsession, she grew up watching gamers play games. But when I was in high school, that was weird. That you don't do coke at 13 and have orgies. That's what I mean, I was in DCF by then. I wasn't in Brattleboro. I was taken literally. I'm kind of glad it happened that I was taken from Brattleboro and moved to Wilmington, and then I was just moved around constantly. That I never was able to assimilate into any community. Kept me as a time capsule because all I really had was old people around me. So when I tell you that I hate old people, I like people that are, I don't know. I like some people. Most of them I can't fucking stand, but it did teach me a lot about. I'm really grateful for the influences I had, and I was literally taken from places like the same way that I'm just violently removed from places all the time. It's sort of like keeping me from becoming a part of the community, so I'm only left with myself, like I'm a time capsule or something. But if I had stayed in Brattleboro, if I hadn't moved to Wilmington and then moved back to Brattleboro, then moved to Whitingham, then moved back to Wilmington, then moved up to Ludlow, then moved from Ludlow into a foster home in Wardsboro, and then I was back in Ludlow, and then I was back down into the Brattleboro retreat. So I wasn't around the community; I was in the retreat, and then I got into school at 16, and then I was there until my junior year, and then I went back up to Ludlow, and then I came back down halfway through my senior year, and then I was there for the end of my senior year, and then I've just been traveling kind of since, or locked in Section 8 with a brain injury. I was never able to assimilate, but when I was taken from Brattleboro, when I would have been in middle school, instead I spent my middle school at Twin Valley in Wilmington. The people in Brattleboro were doing coke and having orgies. So instead I was around a bunch of kids in the woods playing manhunt still, playing manhunt and going swimming and having crushes. So I was taken to places where there were better people. If I stayed in Brattleboro, I would have been doing coke at 13 and having orgies. I forgot what my point was. Oh, now they're watching Queso. They're not doing coke and hanging out and having orgies. Now they're watching Queso. Talking about I'm about to rip up all my clothes and throw some ass. That's what Queso says. And Jinxie asks kids, he asks children to type 1 if you have a boner right now. He knows that his audience is under 15 years old, and all the time he's like, type 1 if you have a boner. I see those clips pop up all the time, and I'm like, why is this what they're clipping? Why is this what's hitting my algorithm? It's clips from Jinxie's actual channel saying type 1 if you have a boner right now. And why are you guys mad at e-beggars when that shit is happening? Why don't you're like, so I'm gonna get these e-beggars, and I'm like, there's content creators aimed at like molesting your children. Why are you so mad that M stands for money got mad and said some shit about an 8-year-old for content when there's literally streamers that are pumping out a sexual agenda at your kids? I watch Jinx. He's on my feed because I watch Jinxie play Clash Royale. If it's on Shorts and he's doing a Clash Royale game, I'll watch him do the Clash Royale game, and that's why then it pops up videos of him shaking his ass and his dick on camera for kids. And I'm like, why the fuck is this happening, man? Why don't people care that aliens warned me about a tornado? They don't believe me. Why would you not believe me? What would I have to gain from this? I don't make money from this. Talking about aliens does not bring me any revenue. I don't crave attention. I actually crave isolation, and I don't have the ability to actually have that. I don't have my own land. When I thought that I had it here, a bunch of old people got really insane at the thought of me being here. And I'm like, the owner hasn't been here in 5 years. They don't care. You chose your trap. I suffered homeless until I could find a piece of land to stay on. You decided to work until you could get your own land. There's pros and cons to both. Don't hate mine. Appreciate yours. But yeah, aliens warned me about a tornado coming. Isn't that cool? Ain't that cool? I want to be an actor, but I don't want to sell my soul. I want to be in movies, man. It should be me and Tenet. I want to make my own short films. I want to be a filmmaker and a musician, an artist. I have a bunch of really cool. So tomorrow I'm going to shovel my pile of shit, which hopefully will have dried, so that it's easier to scoop. And then I'm gonna take everything that I don't want destroyed, plus my bedding and my laundry, and then at like 5 o'clock, I'll go out and head down to a safe place away from the storm, and then I'll wait it out until the next day when the storms are over. Just like watch a bunch of YouTube on my phone in the backseat of the car again. And then it depends on how much money I have. I don't know. I saw that Heather sent something. This is a very artistic angle. It's because there's my charger. My charger's on my portable battery, so I can't keep it upright because it's leaning against my charger so that I can charge my vape every time I run out. There's a specific picture that I sent Demon Hunter on Discord where I think the sky is orange. It's like a red barn and it's the winter time and it's on the right side, and then there's a lot of orange on the left side. I keep seeing that on the hoodie. I sent 15. I don't know why I was panicked and something said send him some money. It was literal angels informing me that I have to escape a tornado tomorrow. I can't be in a camper when there's a tornado, a severe tornado warning, a flood warning, 75-mile-per-hour winds, and dense, heavy hail coming in. And I was just gonna stay here and wait it out. I like moved my car over here to be safe, and I looked at like where the trees are, so if it falls, it'll kill me. So I'll be dead, so it won't matter. But at least if I survive, my car won't be touched. And then I went out and said, "Are you aliens?" And then bang, right to left across the sky, slowly like a little brush stroke of a paintbrush made of light. Whoosh. And I was like, "Are you good? Nothing. Are you bad? Nothing." Well, if you're benevolent, you have a higher responsibility to take care, to be good. And if you're not, then something higher than you has the responsibility to stop you from being bad. And then a boulder bigger than my head, whoosh, left to right, about a foot from my face, or maybe 4 feet from my face, right into the woods. So it was whatever it was right behind the car, or it has the capability to levitate and chuck a rock. I think it's a bad thing. I'm like, what? Negative response, negative response. I do the whole live stream, and then I get back to the here. A tarot video had like 1,310 views and 133 likes or something like that. The numbers 133, 1133. I watch it. The first thing she says, you can watch the video. The first thing she says is birds and crows. Something about crows. So I'm like, oh, it's a bad thing. And then she goes, then I see a light, right, the same brushstroke of light, that same light right outside the window, and I hear tornado warning. And then the tarot video, the girl says with the big boobies says, "You're surrounded by angels right now." And then I realized, fuck, the rock left to right was a warning. Bad, bad, rock, bad, warning, tornado, tornado coming. Get out, get off the mountaintop where the winds are going to be the worst. And as I'm trying to figure that out, Demon Hunter says something told her send him money, so I have gas money to get down away from the storm. The problem is that I'm not using Photoshop, I'm using AI, and I can't get the AI to put the dragon's head behind the sword. I want it so the dragon's head is behind the sword, curled kind of up, so that it wraps around the sword, and then the S wrapping around, so only like a little bit of the body is shown, but you can see the S shape. It's just around the sword. I can't get it behind the sword, and I can't get the wings to attach to the dragon's body. It messes up. So I'm gonna probably just take the sword out, have the logo the way that I want it, and then once I can use Photoshop, put the sword in. But that's when I've been saying that Casey, the name Casey, is evident of a dragon because the S is the body and the E, the C and the A and the E and the Y are wings. But also it's two yin yangs. It's three yin yangs in the same thing. The C and the A are the yin yang, the E and the Y are the yin yang, and then the S is the yin yang shape for the C and the Y is the greater, and then the A and the E become the dots. My dad's name is Gary, so it's G-A and R-Y, which is two yin yangs again, or one big yin yang. And he's a 10 life path born, or he's a 3 life path born on the 10th, and I'm a 33 life path born on the 11th. Gary and Casey, same shape, but my shape's a little bit bigger, and that has nothing to do with anything about like ego or whatever. But see, it's 5 letters versus 4 letters, and then 33 life path versus 3 life path, born on the 11th versus born on the 10th. And he's a Leo Libra, which is fire and air but balanced, and I'm Sagittarius Aquarius, which is fire and air but exponentially. Ah! And he's a 10 life path born on the 3, which is balanced, and I'm a 10-day 3 life path, which is simple, and then I'm 11 33 life path, which is crazier life. And my dad seemed to be doing the same thing. Just I'm whatever he did, I'm probably doing a exponentially more crazy version of it. Where he lived on it, his thing was being around this mountain, and he went to Hawaii for 10 years. And now my brain is like, go to Hawaii, go to Hawaii, go to Hawaii. He went to Hawaii for 10 years. You need to track calories sometimes because you're sort of letting yourself go. Sorry to say. I'm just, who gives a fuck? The world's ending, bro. It was a lot worse. It's mainly that at the end of the month, I can only afford It's not really track calories as much as it's I actually need to be eating more because I don't eat enough. My body kind of stays in the starvation mode where it's like whatever you eat, you need to store it. So I go and get 2 barbecue sandwiches and a drink a day. So I spend $8 a day, and I usually run out at the end of the month anyway. And then the only thing available is McDonald's or Domino's. That's mainly where it comes from. Is that the only thing I can eat is McDonald's and Domino's once I run out of EBT. And I didn't, I could walk, but PTSD, man. I'm sure you're ugly and fat. I'm sure you're not a great person. You know what I'm saying? Standard deviation dispersion. It used to be that I felt good when I was fat because I had been sexually abused. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's going. Then you borrowed 300 pounds on the computer in your parents' basement. It used to be a lot worse, not gonna lie. It is not great, but it was because I got in the bike accident and then I had the hairline fractures down my left side. So I couldn't work out. And now it's that I can't afford a gym membership. And then when I go out to do push-ups, usually I struggle functioning. But I'm this close to setting up the pull-up and dip bar outside. So the plan, I'm just not taking it like I used to be when I was like 13, because my friend was 6 foot tall at 14 when I was four. Actually, he was younger than me, so I was 14. He was 14. I'm like 4 months older than him, and he was 6 foot. I was probably 5'6". Now I'm 5'9". And his dad had him chopping wood, and they ate fucking. There was 9 kids in the family, and they were homeschooled Christians, so they were all really buff, and the girls would like show off their butts for him, and then they would literally spit at me. So I would go look in the mirror and I'd grab the little bit of fat and I'd be like, "What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why can't?" So I'd do like I got a bench press. I started working out. Like I'd be up until 4 in the morning just doing push-ups and sit-ups, and I did that for so long, and eventually I liked it. Like when I let myself go, it was probably the best thing that could happen to me because I developed a healthy relationship with my body. And now I see it a lot. I have a lot healthier identity, I guess. I just don't care, and I'm happy that I don't care because I'm it instead of the why of why I do it has changed. So now I'm just excited when I look and see that, my jawline is back. I'm mogging a little bit, you know? I don't know what that means, man. If it weren't for you, none of this would have ever happened. I don't know what that means. All of it? What do you mean? Like the war in Ukraine? I remember when I first got to the youth shelter when I was 14. The only book that I had was the Game of Thrones series, and then I had just randomly in there was the Police Handbook. So I think I just saw in a YouTube video somebody do an accent once, and I just started practicing. Like I would do my Russian accent, and I would make this joke when I was in the shelter when I was 14, and the staff member would come in and we would do jokes and we would tell jokes and laugh when I was up in my room while the other kids were downstairs. And I said, our troops are like weed, Russian weed. We just sprout up in your port. And then, like, 10 years later, Russia took Ukraine's port, and that's how it started the war. Isn't that cool? that I was like I predicted it. You know, I was reading the police handbook, and now my life is like trying to expose police negligence and excessive force. And by the way, what happened to me in Morristown was excessive force because I was in a state of passive resistance where they de-escalate the situation, but instead he opened the tent and maced me without identifying me. So he did commit police misconduct, excessive force. I'm not sure if not telling me on purpose whether they had called an ambulance or not is considered negligence, but they definitely did use excessive force, and I could file a lawsuit and get a lot of money for that. Do you feel satisfied, superior, and better now? I'm proud of what I went through. I'm grateful for what I went through because I'm proud of who I've become. I would say in many ways I'm much worse than I was, but in a lot of ways that count, I'm a lot better. I think I'm a much better person. I was always a good person, but I'm less, I don't know how healthy, like back in the day, I couldn't appreciate the people that were around me because I was escaping into playing a character. And now I don't really have a form of identity other than the skills I've developed and perspective after standing the test of whatever you would call it, just terrible shit for a long time. And it's worse than people think. Like when I try to tell the story, it's worse. I only give bits and pieces when you think about how prolonged it was and how much it actually does degrade you, and you sort of lose your mind 1,000 times and come back, and then eventually you're like forged like a sword. So I'm pretty happy about it. What up, Linda? I'm pretty proud of myself. Like, I wouldn't know. I think one of the main things I'm proud of is that in 2022 I had gotten my car back. I had gotten into. Well, let's start in when I was like 7. I think I was in second grade, and I was on the bus, and I was getting off the bus on Third Level Drive in West Brattleboro, which is this big hill, and they drop us off at the top of the hill, and we have to walk down to get back to where we are. It goes up this big loop hill, and so as I'm getting off the bus, some fifth grader fucking hits me. I snap into action. I go, "You jackass!" And then I walk away, and I'm trying to hold back the tears, and I get off the bus, and then I realize the wind had been knocked out of me, and I can't breathe. So I have to like sit there while the bus goes, and I can see them all laughing, and I don't let it affect me. And then I get down the hill, and then when I get away from where they can see me, then I'm like, and I go in. Then my dad would blow off the handle, and he broke my keyboard in half, and would rip all my books up and throw kitchen knives at the wall and shit. And I would just kind of hide in the bed and just wait and be like, if he's gonna come in here, I'll fight him. But I'm waiting to see if he decides to come in here because I'm fucking 9. I think I was 10 years old at the time. Then when I was 14, my dad flew off the handle again and was whipping me around by my leg and trying to bash my head in with a hammer. And then he ran into my room, so I ran into my room and I picked it. He's 280 pounds because I said that I had like the body dysmorphia, and I was like, "What's wrong with me?" So I would just work out excessively. I deadlifted this 280-pound man like retard strength because my Xbox and TV were all I had. So I didn't want him to break my Xbox and TV, so I fucking lifted him up and then I dropped him. I didn't lift him up fully, but I got him off the ground and then he fell. It wasn't like a full range of motion, but I got him off the ground enough for him to fall and break his hip on my bed frame and break my guitar. And then I walked 2 miles in negative degrees with socks and pajamas and a V-neck. Probably negative. It's on a mountain by a ski resort, so it's probably in the middle of March. So it's probably negative degrees, -10 maybe, especially with the wind chill. And my dad's playing chicken, trying to accidentally slide on the ice and kill me. And then I go into DCF, and then when I was in DCF, there was this kid named Tim, and Tim was like, one kid got in trouble for saying something, for like leaving his snack out, his cookie or something, and he was like, "You shouldn't have left your snack out." And then like 20 minutes later, he got in trouble for leaving his snack out. So I went, "You shouldn't have left your snack out." So then he walks in and gets in my face. He's like, "What did you say?" And I said, "I think it's funny that you did the exact same thing you were picking on the other kid for." But I don't remember the exact words I used. But I was in his face too, and he wouldn't swing, but I didn't move. He leaned in, I got in closer. I was just, "What are you gonna?" I didn't say anything. I was just waiting for him to do something. And then the other staff freaked out. She had a panic attack. She didn't know what to do. She got in the way. And then while he was in trouble, I had to console her on the steps and be like, "Are you okay?" So that was pretty cool. And then when I graduated high school, I started drinking and smoking weed. So I would just kind of sit there zoned out and like appreciate the beauty of life, and I'm just happy to be there. And then I was at this party, and some hick kids were mad that I wouldn't call us trailer trash, but because we were up in the mountains, there's no trailer trash in the mountains. Everybody's poor. But the kids that like had the tractors and stuff, and then the kids here didn't have tractors, and these kids listened to emo. Those kids probably listened to country and shit. The emo kids, they were really cool. We were playing games, Cards Against Humanity. We were playing beer pong. A lot of pretty girls there. Everybody was hanging out, and then they were mad they didn't get invited, so they showed up and tried to beat the shit out of Stanley. Tyler was beating the shit out of Stanley, and then they everybody ripped Tyler. Tyler like tried to dive through Stanley's door. He like punched through his door and was trying to crawl into his door because they were all drunk. So they fucking ripped Tyler out, scared him out. There was a huge fight going on, and I was just standing because in my mind I was like, they're gonna handle it. I don't want to be a part of this fight, but I'm gonna stand with the girls who are scared in case a stray comes in. Like if they run in again, I'm gonna block the door at least. But I'm like too high to fight these kids right now. So I'm like keeping the people from going outside because I'm certain everybody there's got guns. So I go outside when I know that they had pushed the Hicks back, and then fucking Stanley's uncle comes out of his camper in the back with a literal Tommy gun from like the 1940s and is just letting off shot. Everybody, all the kids in the truck speed off, and then every fucking Taylor comes in and was like, Casey stood there with the girls, and I just didn't say anything because I was like, that wasn't my fight, and these kids were scared. I knew I could defend myself, but I wasn't getting involved with that shit. You guys didn't even invite me here. I showed up because your Bitmojis were active. I don't give a fuck that he broke Stanley's door. But I'm going to make sure that the people that aren't involved in the fight don't get hit with a stray. But that thing of like not fighting back kind of kept going, where I just kind of, the more I smoked, the more I just, that sort of like snapping into action like I used to kind of wavered a little bit, and I would be more experiencing things, processing things, and like, instead of just kind of in that mode. Then after the car accident, uh, my girlfriend says that her friend is in an abusive relationship with some guy, so we have to go to her house, and he's sitting in the other room smoking the bong, and she's in the living room like whacked out, and I go in and they're talking, and I can feel spiritually like there's some like pushback with him. I didn't know how to articulate it then. Now I do. And I just say, are you comfortable? Are you safe here? So then he takes off the side door, runs around. I know he's going to come in, so I push them kind of out of the way, get in the way. He comes in, starts throwing hands, and I don't think I'd ever really thrown a punch before. Not like really. I'd never been in like a fist fight before. So I don't know what to do. And I was on lithium because I just had a suicide attempt. And they're like, maybe he's bipolar. I'm not. And I'm not on lithium because it wasn't for me. So it was a bunch of other things for the suicide attempt. It wasn't bipolar. It was a lot of shit happened. And then I just gave up. I fucking burnt out, and then I quit. So I get him outside. I go, what the fuck? And I try to pick him up like I pick my dad up, and I put him there, and he's wailing on me, and I'm holding him against the railing, but then he slips my leg, and then he has me on the railing, and then he gets arrested. But before he I felt emasculated. I was like, I fucking should have thrown him over the railing and beat the shit out of him. Instead, he fucking got me. You had me against the railing when the cops got there. Fuck. He fucking taps on the fucking hood like I win. and he takes off. Then like a week goes by and she's back at her house, and I'm just, my dad. I think I learned this from my dad. My dad knows that if he knocks on the door, a lot of times people don't answer the door, so he'll just walk in and then say, "Hey, I'm here." I kind of back in the I used to do the same thing where I would just kind of walk into places. So I walked into that girl's house again because my girlfriend's upstairs, and I had been there before. But because of that fight, he had just gotten out of he had gotten out of county, and he's with this fat as fuck, like 250, maybe like 300-pound guy, fat as fuck, sitting there. I think they're smoking meth or crack or something. When I open the door and I'm just like, "Hello," they fucking tackle me. My friend Nate is just, or my old friend Nate is just standing up by the car watching as this like 300-pound man tackles me to the ground and is choking me out. And I'm looking at Nate like, "Are you gonna fucking do anything?" And he's like, because he's high as fuck. So that felt terrible. And then fast forward to like walking 10 miles on the track, working out every day, taking greyhounds across the country, getting the car, and then the homeless situation where I left the apartment building, and then the police brutality, and then they tortured me in the jail cell, and I was technically molested by a cop. All that shit happened, and then drove my car up around, getting ripped out of cars, and people making up shit because I drove a Dodge Magnum and wore Timbs and shit. So it was like a drug dealer look, I guess. So when I'm going through these small towns, they treated me like that. But then I'm in this motel, and I'm living with gang members that have just gotten out of jail and they're in parole. So I'm living with these gang members, and there's this girl that's really interested in me, so she keeps coming to hang out with us. We're playing poker outside. I carried a table out from the woods, and then I set up the table up so we could play poker. And then her boyfriend was like 2 years younger than me. He was probably 19 or 20, and he was like 5'6". So he was like this on me. He shows up and starts punching me in the face, and I just pick him up and whip him on the ground. He tries to get up. I grab him by his legs and hold him up like this. And I was like, "You want me to kick you?" And he was like, "Let me up, I can do it." So I go to kick his teeth in, and then somebody tackles me. Literally, like that's a miracle in my book because it was like so close to just kicking his teeth right into his brain. Swear to God, it was like a split second. I was so as soon as I decided I was going to do it, the guy next to me was like, "Nope," and tackled me to the wall. The next day he shows up and the girlfriend's fighting with him outside the motel room, hoping I do something again because he was kicking the door in and initiating sex. I don't know how much was rape and how much wasn't, but he was kicking in her door and sleeping with her. She was still with him, so I don't know where the line is for sexual abuse. I would say it was rape. He was raping her. She's outside the apartment or the motel room, and I just open the door and say, "Come in, just come on." She comes in. I lock the door. He's trying to kick the door the way he kicked her door, and he's trying to kick my door. And eventually, I'm like, "She don't want you, bro." And he's like, "Oh, word." So he takes a chair and whips it through the window and cuts her up with glass. I go out to go beat the shit out of him. And then the adult that tackled me is in his face, pushing him against the car. He sees me. I start running. He takes off. He goes this way. Everybody's chasing him into the woods. And then I go around the side trying to meet him. I didn't know that there was the pathway through the woods, and he escapes. He gets arrested for he got an AR, and he was coming back down the road with an assault rifle, and he got picked up and went to jail. Then I went to Burlington, got in a lot of fights. My like crowning moment. There was one point where some guy just kept telling me to shut the fuck up, and I went, keep talking, say it one more time. And he went, "Shut the fuck," and then I got up and I put his Adam's apple between my knuckles, and I just pushed the shit all the way into it, and he was like, I didn't get charged, but I got kicked out of the shelter after my car was taken by Handy's Towing, and then they wouldn't give it back because I had $4,000 aftermarket rims. They were like, "I don't know where your car went," and then a month later they're like, "Oh, we have the car, but you owe us $6,000 now." So they took everything, including my studio and my JBL party box, and just $200, and all my mementos from my childhood. So that sucked. That's why I was in the shelter. And another thing was like the Katia situation. Well, before that, it was I was on the bus and there was this guy. I had a pocket knife in my pocket because I just went to the mall and said, "Hey, I don't have money, but it's really dangerous out here. Do you mind if can you just? It's like $7. When I get paid, I'll give you the money, but I need a knife." So he was like, just take it, man. It's cool. I get it. So I had a pocket knife in my pocket. A guy gets on the bus carrying a tire. He's like in his 40s. He's short, but he's like a beefy dude. And he's bitching at the bus driver about, this is the third bus that didn't stop. And he's like, yeah, you can't bring a fucking tire on the bus. So he's in there, and it's all college kids, and then just like a 40-year-old mom. I think she's an African immigrant by how she's dressed. She could just be in a dashiki, you know. Her child is there with her, and he's on the bus around a bunch of college kids, going, "Somebody stand the fuck up, and I'll gut you. Somebody fucking, I'll kill you right now. Fucking try it. Fucking try it." So, kid my age who is long hair like I have now, but really skinny. I'm in my full king of the creative champions, king in the North garb with my Timbs and the bomber jacket right to left and left to right, and the bat on my back and my backpack and a machete on the sheath in the side. So I kind of push the kid next to me back, so I lean forward so that if he gets up, I'm just going to tackle him, and I'm just staring him down the whole time. And then he starts trying again, but he keeps looking at me, and I'm just staring at like. Then a nice blonde woman, skinny, probably in her 30s, coming back from work, goes and he trips her and she face plants, gets up and gets in his face, and he's like, "Try it, I'll fucking cut you." I get up, but by the time I got up, everybody's gotten up, so I can't get to them without pushing people out of the way. So I'm like, he's not going to do anything. Let's wait till we get off the bus. So I pretend to throw something in the trash, standing near the guy. He gets in her face again. I push kind of both of them out of the way. I get in his face like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He pulls the knife out. I pick him up and I drop him. He tries to get back up, and then by then the bus station workers are holding me back. They're blocking me from him. He's got a knife in his hand. He's going, "Yeah, you fucking whiz, blah blah blah. Wait till I see you on Church Street." And I'm like, "You're not gonna do shit, bro. I'll be on Church Street all day. You're weak and you're small. Try it." And everybody laughed. And then he was like, meh. The cops show up and they grill me. They're like, "Where you come from? Where are you from? What are you doing here?" All this. Pretty college girls go, "Hi, Casey." Walk by, and I was like, how did they know my name? But then I was like, my name was embroidered on the side of my hat with the crown, the snapback with or the brim with the crown on it. My name was right there, so they probably just saw that because it was on this side. They walked by, but they knew my name, and they got in the way of the cop. And I saw the cop was so pissed, in celibate bullshit, and I felt really good, like I was part of something greater. Like I was with the kids my age now. It was cool. And then the woman with her kids said, "I saw everything, man." And she was really happy about what happened, and she said that she told everybody about me in her community, and they all really respect me. So that was really cool. Then I get a card performing songs at Oakledge, where I would just make music and then I perform for like hundreds of people at a party at Oakledge. And then a guy gives me his car. I go down to see my dad. No, this was sorry. That was 2023. Okay, so after the kid threw the chair through my window, before all the stuff I said about Burlington, I went on my dad's birthday to go back to Brattleboro to see him on his birthday when I was 22. He's asleep, drunk in his room, so I take a stick and I'm poking him through the window, being like, "Wakey, wakey," because we used to watch My Name Is Earl, and in My Name Is Earl, when Earl wakes Randy up in their motel room, because they lived in a motel room together, when Earl wakes Randy up, he goes, "Wakey, wakey, hands off Snakey." So I poke my dad and say, "Wakey, wakey," and then my dad was really happy, and I was like, "This is." When my dad and I get to this point where we're just having a good time, there's violence immediately, every single time. So the world doesn't let us like just have a good time. It's police brutalities pretty consistently. Like I've never had a good experience with my dad where it wasn't like garbage getting in the way. Like, so I felt like we were having a good time, which rarely happens. Immediately, a guy comes barreling out, pushes me out of the way, tries to get in my face, screaming about like how I can't be here, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm just hanging out with my dad. He was mad that he saw me because my dad would lock the door and he would be drunk and he'd need to get back in, and I needed to get in and he was wandering somewhere, so I crawled in the window to open his door to let him in or something like that. There was something I needed, so we needed to open the door, so I just crawled through the open window. He was mad about that bullshit. I think he's jealous. He's in the motel program smoking crack. There's no reason for him to be mad. It's just some bullshit, probably with my car and the way I looked. So he comes in and he's trying to, I'm just like, swing, do something. You're not going to do shit? Keep walking. That's right, keep walking. Get the fuck out of here. So he's like, and his wife is getting in my face. He's got like somebody watching over there, and he's just throwing a temper tantrum. And I'm like, stop throwing a temper tantrum. Get the fuck out of here. It has nothing to do with you. What the fuck is wrong with you? You don't do shit here. Get the fuck out of here. Eventually, he tries to grab me, and then I just push his arms back, and I just hold him in place so he can't move. I'm stronger than this guy. He's bigger than me. He's looks beefier than me, but I think he's just, I don't know, for some reason I scared him. So he locked up. So I'm just holding the dude in place. His wife gets in my face like, stop hurting him. And I'm like, do you see me doing anything? And the guy can't move. I've just got him in a lock. I'm holding his arm so he can't move. If he kicks me, he knows something bad's going to happen. Because he didn't expect me to be strong enough to stop his arms. So then he leaves and I walk away to go tell the manager. And he's like, you didn't want the smoke. I was like, shut the fuck up, dude. And then I go and then he says something to the management that gets my dad kicked out. He lies to him. So my dad gets kicked out for his bullshit. But then later, right before we left, it was a girl, and then her daughter's name was Casey. And my dad would like babysit this girl named Casey, this little like toddler. That was pretty cool, right? The Casey names. I was standing there, and my dad goes, he's like talking to Casey, and I'm like thinking he's talking to me. And I was like, why is he talking to me like I'm a kid? And then I look, and he's taking care of a little kid named Casey. But then that guy's wife says, I've never seen anybody like it. She said it takes a lot of strength to show that restraint. So I was like, pretty cool. Then the 2023 stuff happened. Then the Kadia stuff where he jumped out of a tree and tried to choke me, and I cut my way out and then put it over his head because I probably saw it in a cartoon or something. But that was my first instinct, was just blind him and then run. Because this guy, even though he was 65, he knew martial arts. He was really good at it. He was just beating the shit out of people for fun at the park pretty consistently. I didn't want to be I didn't know what that guy knew, or like he could break my arm and shit. He was also 6'5". He was tall as hell. Even though he's old, he was like beefy too. He was like muscular. He like works out and shit still. I didn't want to get involved in that shit. I knew it was him. He was on mushrooms and like roaring like a lion in a tree and then pounced at me. So I got out of there. I did fight him one other time. But after that, when I got the car, and it's the winter time, and I got my car stuck. I was on an access road waiting for DoorDash orders, and then I would drive down the access road to get back into town to do my DoorDash. I got stuck in the grass after a storm. There was like a patch of grass I didn't see in my car, full extended into that hole, so I couldn't get it out. And I had to wait until they showed up with I think it's called a skid steer or something, to pull the car. But while that happened, there was a schizophrenic 30-year-old guy named Vincent that said he was an alpha wolf and he was a Viking that killed me in a past life. And he walked out and said, "This is you," to a tree, and he fucking cut the tree down with a hatchet. Eventually, I got the hatchet and the BB gun that he was using. He was shooting a 22 at me, and I would storm into the gas station and confront the owner and say, "Your employee that's living in a tent behind your gas station, he's a fucking nut job, and he's playing you. Like, you think he's like this you're trying to take care of them, give him an opportunity. When you're gone, he's doing some crazy shit." And the guy didn't care. And then eventually that guy the schizophrenic man pulled a gun and put a gun on the back of one of the other employees as a joke. And they still didn't fire the dude. I had to get George involved, like a community action worker, to go try to talk to him. And even they were like, "Oh, hey, Casey, like I'm the crazy one." I'm like, this dude literally shot at me, showed up in the woods and chopped a tree down, fucking was shooting at me, and he did all this crazy shit. Yet something about me, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Maybe you're retarded. You thought about that? Maybe your ego got a hold of you because you've settled into a miserable life. So you're just grouping together to cope. It's kind of a consistent theme in my life, right? Especially with I don't know, didn't Bender go to gay baby jail? Bender's in gay baby jail right now, I think. Which is, pretty obvious. It's that, and then the next time around, it's legal charges. Putting a disclaimer in the channel description does nothing, by the way. I would know. Then, because I said white people hater and I got in trouble. You know what I'm saying? All right, so I said something along those lines, even though I had a disclaimer that said, like, I love everyone or something. I still got in trouble. I don't remember it exactly. I'll figure it out later. I have ADHD and I'm tired. But I'm just saying I'm proud of myself. And I've come a long way. Like I was always somebody that even though like even when the kid hit my stomach when I couldn't breathe, I still got in his face and cussed him out. Even though I couldn't breathe, I yelled at the dude. But I've won more fights than I've lost now. And even when Rick fucking charged me in the shed, I didn't back down. I stayed right in his face and calmed him down. Overpowered him with my wit and charisma, and then he stomped away like a big baby. And I wouldn't have known that I was capable of these things if those things didn't happen to me. Maybe I would have died if I didn't get a police brutality because it like turned me into a monster. Like maybe if I didn't get tackled and maced by the cops and then tortured in the jail cell, maybe I would have lost that fight with that kid. Yeah. I mean, in the hood, people get jumped all the time and robbed at gunpoint and shit. Could be worse. Like, I bet if I grew up in like some like sub street of Atlanta, shit would be a lot different. Or if I was in Venice Beach and like I walked down the wrong alleyway, I get stabbed. My friend Tyler got robbed at gunpoint in Philly. He lived in Philly for a while, and he worked at a gas station in the hood. And they said basically that he was protected and they would keep him safe. And then one day, someone cornered him behind the gas station and robbed him at gunpoint. So he moved his family back to Vermont. Like it could be a lot worse, but I have gone through some shit for real. And what I say is, I've said it before, is that what veterans have told me is that what I've experienced is a lot more respectable because what they experienced with war, they at least had training, they had people with them, and they had you know, they were helped through it the entire way, and I was by myself. Like I've been in the woods when people are shooting at me. I've been in the woods when people are attacking me in the cold by myself. I've had three, four police brutalities if you count Morristown. My parents only hit me twice. My mom clocked me once, my dad clocked me once, and then my dad whipped me around by my leg and tried to beat me with a hammer, but he froze right before it hit me. So he tried to beat me with a hammer, he didn't hit me with the hammer. Some people, their dad fucking rapes them. So it could be worse. But it is a lot. And to go through it alone, and especially like, I think it would have been a lot easier if I didn't have the car accident and then I didn't have the years in Section 8 going through spiritual psychosis every day, like 4 times a day, trying to figure out how to think again, and then having to walk on the track and shit. Doing all that completely alone, that was tough to do it because loneliness adds so much more to it and it makes your experience of life much more vivid. So the stuff I did go through was probably a lot, I experienced it a lot worse than people that aren't in complete isolation when they experience it. Being alone makes your experience a lot more vivid, so the stuff that happened made it a lot, you know, made it a lot bigger in my head. In my experience was a lot bigger. But yeah, I learned that I've never had a friend. I've never had a friend in my life. I say my friend Tyler, it's just somebody that I speak to once every 5 years, and we used to hang out and play video games, but we never really talked much. And then I was kind of taken in by older kids when I was 14. I never really talked to my friends. We would kind of go to the lake with all of us together, but none of us really, like, we didn't have any deep talks really about life or anything. We didn't really share any laughs. I realized my friends and I, we never really broke down laughing. Eventually, I had a couple people I called my friends, but they were not good people. They were creeps. Like I was living on the dudes. We were I was at one point in my life when I was 16. It was me and two other kids my age, and one of them had already dropped out of school, and one of them just sat around playing video games all day, and we were all sleeping on the same twin bed, and I would bring girls over and I would hook up with the girls, and my friend is just laying there on his phone next to us, and I'm like putting the girl on top of the guy while he's just chilling on his phone. Because I was a kid, and that's the only way I was getting laid. There was nowhere to go. Couldn't go outside. There was too many people out there. But yeah, I never really had a friend until my girlfriend when I had the brain injury. But she was basically taking care of me. I was kind of a vegetable or a dog, and she would just kind of cart me around and listen to me ramble on about aliens and shit. But she got it. She taught me stuff like if you get attacked by a Harry Potter dementor, like she did when she was young, you just imagine a golden light as a rope that picks up the thing you don't like, and then you rope it out and then fling it. Because she would get attacked by scary monsters when she was little, like me. And then one time we both got telepathically spoken to by an interdimensional intelligence that informed us both at the same time. We're both looking at each other, and we both just know immediately. And we both, like, we realize it at the same time. We both reach for it at the same time. Something was telling us that something was listening to us through a microphone in the car, that they had bugged the car and they were listening to us. And we didn't know who they were or why, but we both knew, we learned it at the same time, sitting next to each other. I'm in the driver's seat, she's there. And then we both reach up at the same time and pull down a microphone that was lodged in the roof of the car where it meets the windshield. We pull out a microphone and just rip it out. The two kids behind us are like looking at us like, what the fuck? Later in life, we realized that was probably just a Bluetooth microphone. That was just a Bluetooth microphone so you could talk to people in the car. But the fact that we both got it and then we both reached for it at the same time, we didn't have to say anything. That girl and I, we spoke telepathically the entire time. We barely spoke words to each other. We would say like barely anything, but there was so much vivid meaning in what we were saying. And oftentimes, as we're trying to talk, we're just kind of like standing near each other, and then the music would start playing what we're trying to say to each other, and then she would smile and be like, "It's the aliens." It's she couldn't dispute it, and she still slept around. I think she still was dating like two other guys behind my back. But I guess I was a vegetable, and then the fact that she had cheated once right after the car accident made it so I found her disgusting. I loved her, but I found her disgusting because I didn't. I need people that are honest. I've realized, unless I'm being like a sex addict and I just treat them like a moment, like just sex. If they lie to me, I think that they're disgusting. I think that they're gross. So she was like, we never have sex," and I didn't know how to tell her like, I don't have erectile dysfunction. You're like a disgusting homunculus to me, even though I love you, because I know you're lying to me and you won't just say it. I'd probably be able to be better if you had just said, I'm seeing this guy because you're stuck in Section 8 and you are working through your problems, so I kind of go out with this guy. Probably would have been a lot better than her flat out just enjoying the fact that she's hiding it, and I'm a psychic. I can see it. And she knows that I can see it because we're talking telepathically. And the aliens are fucking talking to us. I know it's crazy. It will be less crazy in 10 years, I guarantee you. I guarantee you in 10 years it won't be crazy at all. It'll be normal. I drove 90 miles an hour into a telephone pole when I was 19 because I lost my job, because my car broke down and I needed my car for work. I lost the place I lived because it was 40 miles away 40 minutes away. And my friend said if I can't give them a ride, then they're not going to let me in their house. Because they sat there and they would spend their entire paychecks on weed, and I didn't like to smoke anyway, so they didn't even want me around anyway. I was a vibe killer because I wasn't smoking moon rocks out of a 40-foot bong. Smoking until they basically killed themselves and they would pass out. And they didn't even get high anymore. They weren't even getting high, they were just smoking to smoke. And then I went back to my ex that I was cheating on all the time for her concert, and she was there with another guy. So I snapped. I'd already snapped earlier that day because I hadn't slept in days because the SSRIs mixed it with the weed they were smoking was keeping me up for days. And I had missed my medication that day. And then my car broke down and I lost my job. And then my friend who was pissy and wouldn't let me get into the apartment to get his dad's apartment, so to get my medication, he wouldn't even let me in because I said I'm not going to drive all the way back at midnight. I don't have the gas money for that. I'm trying to save up so I can buy Ableton. All I think about is music. I'm trying to buy Ableton so I can learn sound design to make these songs. I can't afford to drive you. I'm sorry. You live at Dakota's house anyway. You can afford to just stay the night at Dakota's house, and then I'll pick you up tomorrow when I get off work. We lived together at his house, but he locked me out so I couldn't be at his apartment with him. I was like, that's fucking low. We've basically lived together for 4 years now, couch surfing together. You really don't trust me? But it was more of a pissy thing with him. He was a pissy guy. So then when I'm basically fired because my car breaks down and I go back to Dakota's house, he's already there. He called out of work. He's like, I didn't have a ride. So he was just gonna stay at Dakota's anyway. You fucking pissy retard. So he's just negative in my ear. I'm just sitting there thinking, what the fuck do I do with my life now? I'm gonna have to get another job. Where should I apply? I don't know how to tell him that I can't even get him back to his apartment anyway. With his dad's apartment. And he's just bitching in my ear, and eventually I fucking whip the controller. I get up and I beat the shit out of him. And then I go downstairs, and then it was my dad and me. The way my dad snaps, I snapped again, and I went up and I beat the shit out of him again. He was just getting up, and then I tackled him and I beat the shit out of him again. So then I lost my friends. And then my last ditch effort was to go back to my ex at her concert. And then she was there with another guy. So then I snapped again, chucked my phone, said, fuck! I didn't yell at her or anything or yell at anybody. I just went, fuck! And I chucked my phone in the school I had just graduated from a year prior. Whip down the street, a light shines in my head and says, go back, go back, go back. So I drive back, and then I see the pole. I'm about to turn in. It turns out, as the biggest fuck you to the guy, because I cheated on her all the time. As the biggest fuck you, she was bringing that guy to have pizza at my job. She was expecting me to be at work. So her family kind of they were going to have dinner expecting me to be at work. So their whole plan was to bring her new boyfriend to my job so I would see her with the new guy. What ended up happening after their parents hatched this harebrained scheme to get back at me for hurting their daughter. I wasn't abusive, but I did cheat all the time. I was not emotionally invested in her, and I was her first love. Because I was 18 and smoking weed with my friends and going out, hanging out with tons of people. And I kind of just left her behind because she was a junior when I was a senior, so she would have been a senior that year. And I had moved on, but I kind of kept her around sometimes, which was really bad and low of me, and I've changed. But they were going to bring the guy to my job. And then what ended up happening, how God works, is that I didn't even know the parents were sitting behind me at the concert. The only seat available was directly in front of them. So they're expecting to see me after the concert at my job to be like, fuck you, she's got a better boyfriend. And what ends up happening is they see me at my lowest just sitting there because I love her. They see the kid that he actually loves her. And he came to her concert. And then they see a staff member or a teacher saw me there, and then she knew I was homeless because they had seen me around working and stuff. They knew I was homeless through high school. She went out and got a whole thing of food, and she hugs me in front of the parents and hugs me and then gives me this huge thing of food, and I am basically crying. I'm like, thank you, it really means a lot to me. I'm sorry, this is my situation, I'm trying. So the parents that were like, he's evil, he's bad, whatever, they see me really actually humble and kind. So it's complicated, you know. It's not, I'm not saying I wasn't a bad doing a bad thing, but I'm saying that it was complicated. And then they're eating pizza at my job, and then they see me fucking kill myself. Right where the window is, I didn't know they were in there. What they see is me fucking slam 90 miles an hour into a pole right there. Bam! And then they see me die, and then I'm just revived by the angels, and I'm fine. I should be dead. 90 miles an hour, the airbag doesn't go off. I slam into the steering wheel, and then, oh, I'm alive. And I don't even have a brain injury. I say it's a brain injury because shit happened after, but my brain was fine. So then they see me get out of the car, and then money just, all my cash from delivering pizzas just flies out like $300, bam, all over the ground. And then they see a very pretty girl who's a senior in high school and her mom come up and hug me. And then I'm crying, and I start yelling the ex-girlfriend's name, who I don't know is in the window watching. They see me going, I want, and I'm saying her name, I want, where is she? Where is she? I'm crying. And then they take me to the hospital. And because I was a piece of shit, I call my first girlfriend, my first love. I call her. Out of everybody, I just call her. So then she shows up, and I'm like in the gurney at the hospital, and I'm just kind of holding my first love there. And then they put me in the hospital, and then I was fine. No brain injury, nothing. They put me on lithium. Aliens come down, gray aliens in my head saying slavery is a choice. Slavery is a choice. Don't take the lithium. It's going to fuck you up. Don't take it. I puke up my lithium. I go to bed. I learn how to astral project. I can go out and tell the time on the clock, and I can tell what the guy's writing on his thing at night. I go out and say, "Did you just write this sentence?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." And then he sees me go back in. And then I come back out 20 minutes later. I was like, "Did you just write this?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." I'm like a scientist figuring out that I'm actually astral projecting. And then right before I go to bed, I feel the same presence I felt tonight. I look up, and there's just a giant, tall, lanky, skinny shadow, and it's like a Harry Potter Dementor just sucking my life force out. I'm trying to fight it, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go to bed. And then I wake up, and then I have the brain injury symptoms. Then I was fucked up, and I couldn't form words. I couldn't remember. I couldn't exist. But then I started. If my notes were saying all these people in the industry are worshiping a entity, and they call it the divine feminine, and all these love stories that when rappers write songs about a girl, they're really writing songs about this ancient goddess that they call the divine feminine. Now that I'm older, whether you want to believe it or not, that goddess is actually called Rhiannon. It's a Celtic goddess. That's why it's Hollywood. It's Celtic. It's Irish. Rhiannon. And that's why all these rappers write about Rihanna. Because it's a secret. It's a cult. They're talking about the divine feminine. Mac Miller's album, The Divine Feminine. They're talking about Rhiannon, the Celtic goddess. That's why Rihanna was wearing the red dress surrounded by the satanic thing, and they do a literal satanic ritual at the VMAs and the Grammys and all this stuff. When they do the literal satanic ritual, like Sam Smith putting on the demon, doing a satanic ritual in front of everybody. Rihanna was originally the one doing that, and that's why they would write these songs to Rihanna. She was like what Heather said about like an avatar type thing. And I was literally just learning that from aliens after my suicide attempt. If you keep believing the weather forecast and speaking life into it, then you're quite capable of making it much more difficult for yourself and others. It took me many years to learn this, but the more people that buy into their bullshit engineering and forecast, the more accurate it seems to be. However, there is a hardening side. Well, I mean, literally, I didn't believe that. I didn't subscribe to that. I was like, it'll be fine. And I was saying here, and then I went, after I watched Tenet, I went out and be like, are you aliens? And then a gentle brush of light, kindly, well, right to left in the sky. And I went, are you good? Heard nothing. Are you bad? Heard nothing. I said, well, if you're benevolent, you have a higher responsibility as a greater intelligence to be benevolent. And if not, a higher dimensional being has a responsibility to stop you from being bad. And then immediately a boulder like this big, whoosh, right in front of me, 4 foot away, whoosh, left to right. I'm freaking out. Then later I learn I'm sitting here and I'm watching a video that was posted right when I had the experience. She uploaded it and it says, I hear something about crows. You might have a lot of crows in your life are important. And then video goes on and then I see a light, the same gentle kind brush of light outside right there, but it's more of a humanoid shape. It's like a humanoid made of light, which I've seen before. When I would travel on Greyhounds at night in the Airbnbs, those things would come down and tell me, you're brave and we love you. Nobody else does what you're doing right now. Keep going. And then I saw it and then it said tornado warning. And then I realized that fucking rock was warning me about the 75 mile per hour winds that are going to happen tomorrow. And I'm surrounded by boulders and dead trees on a mountaintop. And then when I was talking earlier, Demon Hunter said the same thing talked to her and she sent me $15 and I have enough gas to get out before we even knew that that was what the point of it was. It was literal aliens or angels. My favorite group, Breaking Benjamin, sings to Rhiannon in their song sometimes. If there's even one reasonably present, reasonably self-aware individual in the area that chooses to remain tapped into the reality and actual nature instead of believing the forecast. Matan had a Jewish person on a debate with the black Israelites. And he went, "Hello, Rabbi. How will the weather be tomorrow?" That was pretty funny. And then well, the guy with the Knights of Columbus, KC, that came up here, and the first thing he says to me is, "Fortunately for you, I don't have any authority over this place, so I can't kick you out." That guy eventually stormed into, it was hunting season, and poachers were shooting deer on the property. So I left the car and I went into the shed because there's a big rock in front of the door. So I was like, if I just hide behind the rock, maybe they won't kill me with a stray bullet. And then one morning I walked out when there was still snow on the ground and there was just a black bear sitting on the rocks at the other side of the field. So I was staring at it and then, what the fuck? Why is there just a bear there? Is it dead? And then I see that it's actually a fat old woman in a black fur coat. So I was like, oh, good morning. And then I go sit on the porch and I start playing guitar and then she walks away and I get a really bad vibe from her. And then eventually the guy with the Knights of Columbus storms into the shed after I had said, "Hey, I have PTSD from people coming at me. Can you just text me before you show up so I don't go through that panic about people showing up? So I can prepare myself to actually be conscious so I don't kind of word spew, so I think I'll seem more normal and it'll be a better interaction if you just let me know beforehand." Instead, he stomps in and goes, "I heard you were making that woman uncomfortable, huh?" And I was like, "No." He was like, that guy said that I needed to clear out because they're going to have Good Friday, so I needed to leave the area so that they can have Good Friday. And he said, "I trust Jesus that the weather's going to be fine." And then it was supposed to be at 11. And he said that he trusted Jesus that the weather won't be bad because he has faith in Jesus after he had done something kind of disrespectful to me. And I felt like nature was like, fuck that dude. Fuck that dude. So what ended up happening is that from 10:30 to 12, the entire time that they were supposed to be doing Good Friday, it downpoured. And then it was completely sunny the rest of the day. Just because people are trying to will something into existence doesn't mean that the conscious thing that's doing this isn't aware of them and what they do. Just because you wish for something to happen doesn't mean that it's going to happen. There's a mediator, something more benevolent and greater intelligence than us, or at least we have a state of amnesia. It takes a level of benevolence, I think, to be able to access that stuff. I don't think that a massive amount of people thinking negatively will cause a negative thing to happen. I think it's fair. I think it's conscious. I think it's sentient. And I think it cares about us in a way we don't understand. Oh, is this lady again? I don't know what to tell you, man. I'll tell you that it bleeds into your everyday life, and your kids have lost respect for you if you have them. Unless Stockholm Syndrome and isolation has brainwashed them to be as garbage as you. They recognize you, and they kind of like look at you the way you look at other people. I guarantee you, being this heavily addicted to comment sections rewires the way that you think, and then you unknowingly, unconsciously have become live like the way that your thoughts form to form words most likely takes the pattern of what you say in the comment section. So when you say these people are delusional, this people's crazy, blah blah blah, at the end of the day, you've become that. You have actually lost touch with reality, and the best thing for you is to get off the internet. You know what I'm saying? Too much mushrooms will fry your brain. Yeah, I've seen Radagast on Lord of the Rings. I know. I mean, I know a couple people that are like that, that like enjoy it. But I would also say that even though they might be nuts, they they're actually very. They have great empathy, and the only problem with that spending too much time in the spiritual is that for some reason what I've seen from them is that it becomes power gamey. I think they might climb to the top of that mountain of truth and then they come down and then they appreciate the transactional nature of social interaction, whereas most people don't. I mean, if you just spend enough time in social situations, it does become transactional. But they tend to be more, they have a level of spirituality to it where they understand levels of awareness and they understand divine orchestration and bringing souls through tests to initiate them to a higher level of consciousness and humbling situations and benevolence and learning, and all this stuff. They do tend to be that. I've never really met somebody that has done a lot of psychedelics that at the end of the day they just, you know, it's more drugs like hospital drugs, prescription drugs. That's what really messes your mind up. If you smoke too much weed, you end up Jamaican. If you if you do too much mushrooms, you end up doing somersaults in public, and then you get up and you're really happy that you did the somersault and you play the saxophone. It doesn't really fry your brain, but drinking and opioids, heroin, crack, meth, that shit messes you up. But and you know that comment sections in Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and some like the like button and the subscriber button and that stuff is designed to trigger the same part of your brain that heroin does. So you get the same sort of response of the frying your brain and the degeneration of self and all this garbage that comes from being chronically online on Facebook arguing or hate groups and all this shit with like the comment section breeding that negativity festering so that you can kind of cum that garbage out and hope for validation or have some influence or impact on somebody else where your whole self actually becomes revolving around creating a change in somebody else. Like your fragile ego in this darkness you're festered with this fake sense of power, it relies on the necessity for reaction from others. A lot of people addicted to negativity on the internet are fiending the same way that heroin addicts and crack addicts fiend for their drug. They fiend for an emotional reaction in a target on the internet, whether that be liberals or MAGA or e-beggars or e-beggar haters. Like I can also find that like in those chats, there's a whole other group of social media addicts that are mad at the social media addicts that hate the thing. And the thing I want to ask Bree is that if you have Bree, I don't give a fuck. You are like scum of the earth to us. We think that you're just the most pathetic retard we've ever seen. We think that you're a narcissistic piece of garbage that can't see how distorted you've become. We look at you with pity and like we don't care about your opinion. It's just so it's funny to us. It's like, oh my God, it's her again. Are you serious? Like she's back? Are you kidding me? We don't give a fuck. We don't. At the end of the day, we don't give a fuck about you. Bree seems cool. No, Bree is like a chronic internet addict that just spends her whole day trying to like ruin the life of live streamers. And she gets together in a group of people that jerk themselves off, saying how much better they are than people that waste their life streaming. But they waste more of their life. The streamers aren't live, and they're still on the internet watching other streamers. They're wasting their life. And they don't get anything from it. At least the e-beggars get something from it. The e-beggars are live streaming themselves going out and having, like, talking to people. Lobo Shaman has a girlfriend. Fucking M stands for money. He went through some shit, but at the end of the day, he's an icon. M stands for money. He's going to stand the test of time on the internet. He's immortal in terms of like digital archaeology. Digital archaeologists will find M stands for money. Digital archaeologists will not really find Bree. They might find Bree and be like, "Wow, really? She didn't lose everything and go to Miami. She didn't fucking go live her life. She never did a wingsuit. She never jumped. She never bungee jumped. You know what I'm saying?" It's been 3 weeks since you've been on. No, you were in my chat like 4 days ago. So just wanted to pass that along. I don't claim to have the full grasp of how it all works, especially with all the various tech being used. Just sharing some humble wisdom from Tornado Alley. I didn't get a chance to catch up with all the different pieces of your various stories, nor actually know that I'd have the time to do so and relay the message over to you while streaming about the tornadoes and collective manifest. Ask me how I know, but I'm confident that you have enough of a grasp on how things work to be able to comprehend that what I'm saying is applicable to nature and the weather. Yeah, I do believe that we are co-creators of our reality and that our conscious influence does have a response. Like the what, especially like the biggest tell is that when I get to a sense of peace, it makes the crows upset. Something about me when I'm feeling confident and focused and I'm able to channel into creativity consciously does trigger crows that make them upset. That's the same way, yeah. I do have videos on my channel from 2024 in June, maybe early June, late May, where it's a thunderstorm outside and I'm literally showing you live how I can exactly when I'm going to call the lightning, and then I reach up and then I connect to the cloud and I just ask it nicely because we were in the year of the dragon in a gray year where it's a Scorpio year, and it's also the wood dragon, so it's that dark gray element. So you'll find that all the albums that came out that year will have dark gray and maroon. Just like how you can find that all the albums in 2025 would be yellow and red and brown and maroon. And then I said that 2026 would be green and red and gray. And Doomsday and Zach Bryan's album and Ian McConnell's album. And um, I wouldn't say that the Backrooms did have some of it in there with like the Kevin Clark stuff, but that was 33 coded. It was still yellow because it was made during mostly 2025, so it had the yellow in there still. And Backrooms is spanning along. Had to be yellow for the Backrooms, you know what I'm saying? But Obsession had it. The color scheme changes because the collective consciousness changes because we're inside of a creative thing. And it has themes and a structure to it that's been identifiable for tens of thousands of years through Bayesian astrology and Christianity and all this stuff. It tells you that we're in a creation. Even the Hunger Games tells you that we're in a constantly moving thing that has a creative thing to it, an orchestration to it with themes and presences and that have been identifiable. Like I don't say that if you're born in the year of the ox, you'll look like an ox, but I'll say if you're in the year of the ox, you'll have the traits that they said that the year of the ox has. They just assigned an archetype to it. If you strip away the archetype, you'll still find the pattern and the influence of that year. It's not an ox. It's a they just identified it as the ox because that's what they see is hardworking, slow moving, one after the other, but doesn't ambitiously climb. It stays one foot after the other going. It's about rhythm, but no, like all the birds are chirping in rhythm, the crickets are chirping in rhythm. Nature has rhythm. It's mainly triplets. Nature mainly goes in triplets. And the people who worship nature the most, the Irish and the natives, they base music around the natural harmony and rhythm of nature and the universe. What I was saying though is that can we literally manifest the rain? Yes, but I think that it's more like the way that Christians say you have to ask God, can I get the rain? Where the people would do the rain dance to get the rain. They would eventually they did the sacrifices, and then Spirit said, no, that's not good. Whether you could get, at the end of the day, you could say that the people were colonized and conquered because they were sacrificing people. Maybe, like maybe that's part of it, is that like the Spanish Inquisition happened because the people that they did were sacrificing people, or it's all made up, and that the Spanish Inquisition was just saying they were sacrificing people. We weren't around then, but we know that at the same time people were sacrificing people all the way in South America, people were sacrificing people all the way in the Middle East. So there was something that was happening that was leading them to believe that there was a cause and effect to that. It's not just they were savages. How come Israel isn't a savage, but the Aztecs were savages? Israel was arguably worse. They were doing it to kids and raping kids and then doing it. They were doing Epstein shit. The Aztecs were somebody would volunteer. You know? They place all that blame on the Aztecs and the natives being savages. Look at what the fuck Israel was doing. So yeah, I mean, there's been proof that we're a conscious co-creator of our reality. Does that mean that I can call a tornado if I decide there's going to be a tornado tomorrow? Yes, if we're still in the age of Pisces, in the age of Aquarius, it would be different. In the age of Pisces, if you believe something's going to happen that might, I'm talking like Bashar, like I'm channeling the Yasasani suddenly when I'm thinking about the future where the Yasasani live. Um, Suddenly I start talking like Bashar. That's really weird. And I've literally seen myself materialize outside in the woods, and I'm staring at myself, and I look like how you'd imagine me if I morphed with my Facebook Bitmoji. And then Bashar says that what humans look like in the future is transcended time and space, and they live kind of like where they have bigger eyes, bigger heads, softer features, and they live in a different temporal realm where they manifest as looking like exactly what I saw. And I didn't know that until after I saw literally myself from the future being like, hi, I'm you from the future, and you incarnated in the past to help wake humanity up. You're a king out there. And I'm like, I don't know, I feel like a homeless man. I'm like, until you get your throne, and then fucking the next day, that red throne out there. But that's the crazy stuff. That's the theoretical space. I usually talk about evidence-based stuff. Like I ask for an alien, and then a praying mantis sits next to me for an entire day, just chilling with me. And then I scroll, and then Joe Rogan clip where he's like, "What if praying mantises are 10 feet tall?" And they give us little praying mantises to see how we'd react to them. And then I find out about the mantis beings after I watch Nope 2 days later, where in Nope they're trying to get a video of a UFO, and then when the security camera's about to catch it, a praying mantis flies down and stares at the camera's face. Stares at the camera right there. That's like evidence-based stuff. This is like, I mean, the throne is evidence-based, but 6-7. I don't really know for sure, but I mean, I do also have the same way. It was the same year where I see the thing materialize, and it says it's me from the future. I did also weeks prior see my little brother who's dead materialize, and then I get a bing on my phone when I'm looking at him, and he's right there, standing there, hazing in and out of reality. And then I get a bing on my phone, and then I watch the video title says, "Your dead brother has a message for you." So I click it, and it says, "He loves you. He chose to reincarnate. He won't know you. You won't ever see him again. He won't remember you, but you will experience him through other people because souls are greater than we think." And then the next day I wind up in town, and then I meet somebody at the gas station who is the same age as him, from the same area he was from, and talks just like him. And he's also a dreamer that's kind of selfish, wants to do things his own way. And no matter what I try to tell him, he won't listen. So I at least get the closure of what I didn't get to say to him to this other person. So that's pretty evidence based. And then I had a fucking boulder fly left to right in front of my face tonight. After I asked if they were aliens, and then a gentle brushstroke of kindness, of light, right to left across just right in front of me where I pointed. That's all real, whether you believe it or not. So do I think that we can control the weather with our consciousness if we all get together and believe in a collective reality? I think it's up to a higher intelligence. M cents for money is a worthless crackhead. I don't know him. I don't really care about what you're saying. Bree, you have a pretty picture and pretty name. It definitely doesn't suit. They're just arguing in the chat. This sounds exactly like agent provocateur behavior, or even training agent provocateur AI at this point. IoT systematically drain the energy and lower the frequency vibration wherever they go. Yeah, I mean, the crows do it, and then when the crows can't show up, they show up, and then when they show up, the crows tend to show up. They're pretty kind of causal. Like when I learned that when I learned about their group, the crows left. But then whenever I would comment in the group, the crows would come back. When they would all get to like the crackhead, when you tell a crackhead they have a problem, they're like, "No, I don't. You." It's kind of how they respond. It's just ego based. It's like it's a heroin. I told you, Linda says, Bree, why are you here if you don't like it? Because she's addicted, and she needs she needs to create a change in me. She needs to feel like she's emasculated me and destroyed me, and then she'll say it's more evident that you're a loser. Um, you know, like I try, I go until Spirit says to stop. So I made Bender crash out a few times where he just got he gets really emotional. Bender has been watching me for I think 3 years. He's been a fan. When I would pop in, I would see him copying my jokes to his audience. He would say the same like the same kind of jokes I make. He would say he was just copying what I say. Sometimes when I'm telling these stories, I'll be like the hit movie Disclosure Day. I saw him literally say the hit. It's like the hit movie Recess. He was cosplaying as Casey for his audience. He's a fan. He's watching. He's just banned, so he can't talk. He's also in gay baby jail right now because he finally got in trouble. And the next step is literally legal action because it's a federal crime to create a hate group targeting specific people. It's a little hate crime. People go to jail on for making these YouTube groups a lot. I've talked. I have a friend in the. Thanks to Bender, I have a friend in the FBI because he clipped me out of context and then caused a mass people calling the FBI. I have an FBI's personal phone. So I was just like, is it illegal? And he's like, yeah, it's really illegal. So let me talk to my manager about it. Let me talk to my supervisor. We get these cases a lot, and it is like very criminally illegal. Especially with like, there's another group that watches Bender that has all these screenshots of people like Bree admitting to going to M Stands for Money's house and looking through his motel room and looking through the motel room window, which is literal stalking. When they have shit like that, it's a pretty strong case. Organized harassment. And it's funny that they like the live streamers are like, I'm being gang stalked, and everyone's like, you fucking crackhead. And then you scroll down 2 live streams and you find the gang stalkers. You find the gang stalkers right there. Whether it's cause or effect or what. It's pretty funny. So maybe the targeted individuals manifested the gang stalkers. But no, I had a guy outside my fucking property today, and then he followed me down the road. I don't say it's gang stalking, I say it's small town prejudice and a higher intelligence. Like, I have no way to prove that it's not that the random stranger that followed me through the grocery store, and then when he literally pushed me out of the way so I couldn't get to the register, and then I needed to pay for my items, and then he turns around and then repeats something that I had said to God prior. I woke up that morning and said, God, I don't know what to do. Do you really want me to go to Ireland and live in an old stone house? And then a man followed me through Price Chopper 45 miles away in White River. And then at the end of it, he was like looking at me through the aisles, and I'm like, looking at him. I'm like, I'm gonna ignore this dude. I don't know what the fuck that is. He's got a nice dress shirt on a really shitty thrift store raggedy dress shirt. I can see his nice shirt under it. He's got the shit in his ear, like the FBI has. And I'm like, I'm just fucking. I'm not a gang stalked individual. I'm just gonna ignore it. But then when I get to the register, my card doesn't work. So I have to go ask the manager, something's wrong with your machine. My card is unlocked. It works. Can I pay for it up here? I turn around and the guy is standing in front of the register. And I have to like politely, I'm just gonna not, because I don't want to be a gang stalked individual. I'm not gonna acknowledge all that shit. I'm trying to get this mosquito above me. That's why I'm kind of. Okay, I got the mosquito. That was crawling above me. It was gonna fly behind me and bite my back. That's how it's been eating me at night. And then when I get there, I just say, "Hey man, can I get by? I still have to pay." And then he goes, "What's your favorite story?" Because I said, "Hey God, is your favorite story for me really where I go to Ireland and live in the stone house?" The guy at the register, hours later, that was at 5 in the morning. At noon, 45 miles away, the man that followed me through the store was watching me through the aisles, had the earpiece, had the dress shirt, turns to me and goes, "What's your favorite story?" "Mine's the one about the old stone house." And then he just walks out without paying for anything. Swear to God, I went live and talked about it. That shit happened. I think for the winter, I showed you the same red car that had the same um, thing on the windshield that attaches to the phone with maps. And I showed you guys that that man followed me from Randolph, Vermont, all the way up through to Burlington, all the way up through Winooski, all the way to South Hero, and he was parked next to me in South Hero. Then he followed me all the way to New York, to Plattsburgh, down to Keene Valley, all the way through Saranac Lake, and he was in Tupper Lake, and he would just park next to me. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a sign. I'm not saying it's a sign of gang stalk, targeted individual practicing technology on me. I don't know if it was a subscriber fucking with me for fun because he had a week off work. I don't know who that guy in the red car was. He could be a viewer fucking with me at this point, you know. I don't, but I know that it happened and I recorded it, and that while I was live, he did turn around and flash the high beams in my eyes. It could be a schizo that thinks he's not schizo and thinks I'm schizo, so he's fucking with me. It could be somebody that needs me to be a type of to validate his own crazy shit. But that shit did happen to me. As far as like pre YouTube gang stalk stuff, it got more spiritual where I would like look out and then I would see what looked to be like it's white light, but it looked like it was on all fours and it was jumping at me, like jumping out of the woods at me, and then it would just disappear. Before the YouTube, it was like the last time I saw my younger brother who woke up one morning and said they're gonna kill me, and if I don't get away from his mom, they're gonna kill you too. And then they took him in for psychosis, and then he was fine, and then he got out of the hospital, was walking home, fell, hit his head, got knocked unconscious, died from hypothermia, crawling for help while the whole town drove by him on their way to work on the main street, and he froze to death out there. And he knew when he woke up they were going to kill him. I don't know who they were, but he was pretty convinced they were coming to kill him. But the last time I saw him, he was hooked on crack. So I said we're gonna go get cigarettes, and I'll pull some money out so you can buy what you need. So instead, when we got enough away that he couldn't walk home, I said I don't have any money. I'm broke. So I asked a woman. I said, "Hey, my little brother and I are trying to get. I'm old enough, but I don't have any money. I'm 20. I was 23 at the time. I'm 23. I don't have enough money. Do you have like change in your pocket?" And she's like, "I'll just buy you a pack of cigarettes. I don't care." So she bought us a pack of Marlboro Blacks, and I drove him with the last of my money. I drove us all the way from Brattleboro up to Hogback Mountain, and he's in the back seat throwing a temper tantrum, farting. Fucking smells like shit. He's throwing to hit the back of my thing because he wants to go home and smoke crack. He's 22. No, he was 20 at the time. Fucking, he just was homeless for a while, and they got him hooked on crack. Pieces of shit. Trying to Homeless people in Vermont try to drug runaway kids and then rape them. It happened to my friend Phoenix. They drugged him, raped him, dumped him out of a 10th floor of a building. And then he lived, and then they had to carry him up this mountain. His name's Phoenix. But we're up on Hogback Mountain. It's a 100-mile view. It's my favorite spot. My favorite place on earth right now is Hogback and then Lake Whitingham. Maybe some parts of Randolph, but really that's where I grew up, down there in southern Vermont. And it's the middle of the night. He's in the back seat. I don't know what to do, so I'm like, because I'd already been asking for shooting stars a lot and getting them. I looked up and I said, hey, should I bring him to my favorite spot? And then slowly, bright, whitish blue light, shooting star, whoosh. And it was the angle was perfect so that where John Michael was, he could see it. So John Michael's last memory of me is me out there in the middle of the darkness talking to something, and he doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking to. And then he sees a UFO respond to me. And then I take him out deep into the mountains to a lake. So then I'm like sitting in the car. He's not saying anything. I can see that there's a demonic entity. Every time it jumps into his body, he farts and hits the back of my chair or the back of my seat. And it smells disgusting in there. And I'm just sitting there trying to hold on to the energy. It's the year of the water cat. It's my year of the cat, but a water element, so the energy is much more kind of emotionally vivid, and light is bigger, so I'm trying to organize it so I can hold myself together still when he's trying to drain it from me. And then eventually I get to a point where I can see spiritually what's going on behind me, what's going on with him. And he's not human. He's not him. I don't know what the fuck he is, but I can see he was more spiritually evolved than me the whole time. I had to work to get to that awareness. He had it the whole time, and he was abusing it. So I go, what the fuck are you? And then he says the last thing my dad said to me. He goes, I didn't fucking ask to be here. And he never talks like that. It was my dad. He goes, I didn't fucking ask to be here. My dad's shit. I had just left my dad because we got in a fight. And that's what he said to me. He goes, I didn't. So it was the demon that made my dad attack me. He attacked me in the middle of the night. Got up, pushed me into a wall. I tried to leave. My dad ran out, grabbed me by the hair, threw himself on the ground, and tried to choke me to death. Literally the day prior. So the thing, he literally revealed it was the demon possessing my dad. So I said, I'm a fighter. I'm still like, trying to beat it to death spiritually. Because I tend to tackle the things that scare me. So I'm like trying to get it. Eventually, suddenly, I'm like, as I'm fighting it spiritually, I'm in his head. I've astral projected into his head. I'm now in his head. The back of his consciousness opens up, and there's 3 blue aliens. And they have 3 eyes, and then they have tons of tiny little eyes, and then they have crystals for eyebrows, and then just tons of crystals around. And there's 3 of them, and they're amused. And then they reach in and grab a polar bear and then try to break its neck. So I went, no. And the polar bear bites you and fucking breaks your neck. And then they think it's funny, and then they just close the hatchback in his mind and then leave. And then the energy kind of calms down for a second, but it gets really liminal, like nothing's real. And then a moose walks right by the car. And I can only see its head. I can't see its body. A moose head is right there. And then I see light go from the moose head into the car, and it jolts John Michael, and he goes, that's me. That's me. Is that me? It's me. That's me. And he's asleep. And then the moose just disappears. So I'm thinking that, they depicted Cernunnos, the deer man, like Cern, or like Loki, or like Baal, is like the it's depicted as a deer head in Europe, bear head, or a moose head or elk head here. Like, I don't know what it was, but I know it happened. And then I just drive home and drop him off, and I never saw him again. That was the last time I saw. Actually, I did pick him up the next day. Before I left, I was like, I'm not gonna fucking leave this here. I'm gonna do. I go to. The point was why I was in the group chat. I go to the very end, to try to help people. And then, so I picked him up. I told him we were gonna go to somewhere. I said I took him out, and we were driving, and I wanted to show him because he had only seen me struggling in Section 8, struggling to think and just doing push-ups and sitting in the studio trying to get kind of my mojo back and trying to get back into functioning. He saw me struggling, so I wanted to show him, like, look, I performed at Oakledge and got a car. Survived homeless, and I traveled, and I got in a bunch of fights, and I won the fights, and I saved a bunch of homeless kids, and then eventually I lost them because they went back to crack. And then some of them died, and I tried my best. But at least I got a car, so I drove all the way back. As soon as I got the car, see my dad, he attacked me, and then I tried to, couldn't save my dad, so I tried to save John Michael. So I wanted to show him because, so I floor it, and we're speeding down these back roads so I can floor it, just to show him, like, look what I can do. You saw me struggling to move, now look at me. And then we end up at this lake, Sunset Lake, and we go there and nobody else is there, and there's a trail at the end. I drive to the end of the road, I don't know what's out there, and there's a trail. So we go out there and it's just us, nobody else is around, and I'm a psychic. I can see that he's looking at the island in the middle of the lake. Like, I should go out there, I should go out there, I should go out there. But he's not doing it. And we're Sagittarius, so that's like our whole thing. Together, we want to go on this adventure. He's a Sagittarius, so I can see in his mind, he's like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go out there. Like the Sagittarius shooting the bow and then riding with momentum, righteously, freely, where the only way we can live is we refuse to believe any reality that isn't something we're creating. You know? So he's thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm trying to be there for him. I know it's my year, the cat. I know it's my year, and he's just standing there, like, hyping himself up to go do it. He's not doing it. So I get in the water, and I start swimming because I know he's a competitive freak. You know, as soon as I do something, I went to Phoenix, Arizona to go meet a neuroscientist to learn how to fix what I thought was a brain injury, and I ended up learning quantum physics from a person that contracts with the CIA. And then I met Martin Cabello, of all people. Swear to God, I met Martin Cabello over the phone. She introduced me to Martin Cabello. Then I know as soon as I start swimming, he's gonna swim. So then he's trailing behind me, but then because I had a lack of boundaries from the trauma and the abuse and all this, when people yank all the spiritual energy to themselves, especially in 2023, when I was going through it a lot worse, I didn't really have control over saying no and this and holding it in. I didn't have this natural sense of, like, ignoring the world around me and other people's opinions to just hold it in. I didn't really, it's been a couple years. And then get over it. And then he takes it all back. And it sucks to him. So then I'm, like, panicking because I can't think right now because he had done it. I can't think. And then he swims back to all the energy for himself. Which is 2 weeks before he died, I had a dream that he did that to me in a dream, and then an angel killed him. And then 2 weeks later, he died. So he did that to me. So then I swim. I stay there treading water because I smoke a lot of cigarettes. I'm not swimming all the way like a quarter mile without him coming with me. I'll go and I've walked like 100 pounds on my back through Phoenix, like all the way through Phoenix with 100 pounds on my back. Fucking sunburn, and I have black and blue from the straps of a duffel bag that don't have the guards. And I was like, if I bring all my money with me, I'm not going to keep it in my wallet in case I get robbed. I'm going to hide it in books. So I had 100 pounds of fucking books and clothes and meds. And I think I had a weighted vest because I was like, I'm going to bring the weighted vest. So I had like 20 pounds of a weighted vest in there too because I wanted to do push-ups, and I would just carry that shit. And I was like, I can't really think, but I can walk. So I'm just I would walk 10 miles on the track. So I'm just going. And I had black and blues and shit. So I knew I could swim all the way out there. I've walked 11 miles with 100 pounds on my tractor supply wagon, dragging it through a foot of snow with 106-degree fever. I've carried homeless people a mile that were freezing to death to drop them in front of my heater. I picked my dad up when I was 14. He was 280 pounds. Fucking got him off the ground so he fell and broke his hip. So I could swim it, but I didn't want to go with that. It was for him. But symbolically, when you think about that, we were dreamers that wanted to be famous and wanted to create these things, and we lived as adventurers and all this. Our life was adventure. And our last moment together was him thinking about, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go do it. And I tried to help him. Like, I went out, and I could have easily done it. And then I thought about it, like I could just show him me doing it, but then I didn't, and now I regret. Like I should have just swam out there and seen what would happen. He probably would have. When I come back, he'd be like, whatever he needed to justify. Like I didn't even have to do it or whatever. I don't know what he would think, but it was kind of that selfish kind of. He was like that sometimes. Probably he was just like that. He was kind of selfish. But I'm treading water and I go, this is my greatest fear. And he goes, the water? And I go, no, being in the unknown alone. And then he swims back and he's laying there. So then I lay further down and we're just kind of laying on the ground. For some reason, there's just no bugs, no birds, no mosquitoes, no people. It's like it's like a dream. It's liminal. There's nothing there. It's just us. There's nobody else there, not even bugs, not even birds. It's just us there and the water. But then all of a sudden, the light of God comes down and it's on me. I have the anointing or the power, the energy, the self esteem. And then he yanks it from me, and now I see it's floating next to him, and I feel what it's like to be empty and kind of jealous and angry. Like, why does he have it and I don't? And he's holding, and he's literally smiling while his eyes are closed. He's smiling because he's holding what I thought was my energy, my blessing, my power. So I'm laying there trying to pull it back, magnetize it back to me, hold it in. And in my head, I'm like, why can't we both have it? Why does it have to be me? I'm thinking about sharing it with him. Why can't we both have it? Why does it? And something showing me because he's not allowing it to be the case. He wants it all. He wants to take it from you. So then I fight. I get up and I take it all back. And then he gets up and storms away and sits down like this, just picking at the ground like I used to do. He was like a copy of me. And then like he was acting like me. Like I'm not even sure if it was real. Like maybe he's just a reflection of me. Because it was like myself, what I was seeing. Or we were really alike, and that's why we were wearing the same Ireland shirt, and that I still have to this day out there. We were wearing the same shirt when we met for the first time that said Ireland on it. So then I'm holding it in, and then I'm trying to figure out how to make it so it's even, so that we're both have the power. So then spirit or an angel gives him the energy for a second, and then he goes like this. And then I feel him trying to take it again, and it's like he's possessed. It's like demonic. It's like a creature. I don't like it. It was just really bad vibes around him and what he was doing with like channeling it. But he starts singing one of his songs. And I was like, that's not what I wanted. So I take it back. And then I'm holding it there. He can't have the energy. I'm not letting him. He's just sitting there, mad, trying to distort all the energy and kind of make everything bad. And then I get the telepathic intuition that you're about to be tested. And then I hear rustling out in the woods over there. So I was like, oh, fuck. And then an old couple comes out. And then we both have to do small talk. Because we were both like this. This is who we are. We don't know how to be normal. So then we both have to like figure out how to be normal and talk to them. And then I leave. And I just leave him there. And then I car waiting for him. And then I get eventually with the fight of him trying to pull my energy back to himself and take it to overpower me. At some point I was like, fuck it. Fuck it. So then I let him take it, and then he comes back high, and then he rips open my car door, sits in it, and then I'm guided to look over, and I see a really nice red house on the lake, and nobody's there. No, there's no car there. It's like a lake home for a rich person, and my mind is like, I should sit with him over there. But then I was like, no, I'm done. So then we drive back, and then he was always just really judgmental of my music, and he didn't believe in me. He didn't think I had it. He didn't like my stuff. And then when I got really good at it and I played him my stuff, he was always like, I bet you sampled this. He was negative about it. He was judgmental, heavy criticism all the time. Didn't want me on any of his songs. Didn't want me featured on any of his songs. Sucked, but I loved him like a brother. He was the closest thing I've ever had to a brother. And as we're driving back, the road crew is next to us, and my brain is like, God is showing him he should work at the road crew. And it's playing this song. It's a country song that came out in 2023 about like, what are you gonna do with your life? I went skydiving. I went Rocky Mountain climbing. You know, that's a song. So in my head, I was like, it's showing it. I'm guiding him through a spiritual lesson right now. It's showing him the road crew to get work, what he can do. And then this thing is playing like, what are you going to do with your life? And in my head, I just know this is probably like one of the last times I'm going to see him because I'm leaving. I live like 3 hours away now, and I'm going back up there, and I don't know when I'll come back. You know, I go and it was my give up on the moment. Like, I don't think I can save anybody. Even if I lead by example and I put them there, they don't care. There's nothing I can do to get through to them. But at least I've been through so much in my life and I've been out of society long enough to understand spirit. And I'm just the beauty of the orchestration of the whole thing and to be a part of it as like the way my dad would take kids on the chairlift up the mountain and teach them how to do the Black Diamond Trail. I take people through life and show him God. And I can see that he's just refused it. I can see that spiritually he knows what's happening, but he's just trying to hold this dark energy in, hold this assertive power. It's at the end of the day, it's sexual frustration. He didn't get laid enough, so he's trying to hold on to the masculinity and testosterone. That's all it really is at the end of the day. I know it. Because I knew if he was getting laid, he had a girlfriend and all this, he would enjoy life more instead of trying to hold all the power in. He wouldn't need to hold the power in. He would naturally understand that he has the power. You know what I'm saying? The same reason comment section haters, they don't get laid. They don't get laid. That's the whole point. Where the whole thing stems from is that you're lonely. It's loneliness. But anyway, we're going, and then fucking one of my favorite songs back then. I was like the epitome of songwriting back then was Ed Sheeran's songwriting and Love Yourself plays. But what's cool about Love Yourself is because it's a song about a narcissist, and if you like yourself so much, go fuck yourself. And that's when I said that my ex-girlfriend and I, when we would telepathically communicate, and then the song would start playing the message we were having trouble relaying to each other. Killed that bitch. Did I? Well, I don't hear it anymore. So it was so I sang it. You know, I've been talking a lot and vaping, so if I sing it, it won't sound as good as if I had just started. But it's, if you like the way you look that much, oh baby, you should go and fuck yourself. And if you think that I'm still holding on to something, you should go and fuck yourself. Do 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 do. And I'm singing that to him. And that was the last time I ever saw him. He died. I never saw him again. His last memory with me is singing "Go Fuck Yourself." And also, the night before, when I dropped him off back at his house, after I took him to the lake and everything, when I dropped him off back at his house, my favorite song came on. Where did I go wrong? I lost a friend somewhere along in the bitterness, and I would have stayed up with you all night had I known how to save a life. And I chose not to stay up all night with him, not knowing that the next day would be the last time I ever saw him. So I'm going to live with that the rest of my life. That the universe literally played a song about, if I could go back, I would stay up with you tonight. And I felt called to stay up with him that night. And I said, fuck this dude. I'm out. And then the next day I woke up and I'm like, I'm not giving up on him. I'm going to try one more time. At the end of it, it was go fuck yourself. And then I left. And now he's dead. And I traveled from Randolph to Johnson. I suffered police brutalities. I suffered communal prejudice. People trying to rape me, trying to break my window, stealing my cars, trying to beat the shit out of me, and I had to fight people off alone in the snow. False police reports. Nobody will hire me. People coming in trying to beat me to death, like beat my head with a baton, and I have to fight him for my hatchet. Scream, "This is not how Casey goes!" and whip him on the ground and hack him up. And then the only reason I didn't kill myself and just lay out there to die, which I've tried for years, and I just don't die. I walked from Randolph to Johnson looking for a community so I would get a job and buy land to bring him there. The whole point was to get Jesse and John Michael out in the woods in my land. I would get them land so they weren't homeless, so that we could make really amazing art and that they could do whatever they want. I get them a gym, music studio, animation studio, and they can be creative and do their thing. They were my little brothers, even though we're not blood related. They were my little brothers, and if they were never going to do anything themselves, but they were so it has to be their way, so they couldn't accept it. And I was like, I got them a computer. I taught him how to do push-ups. I taught him how to talk to girls, how to go on dates. I literally took them on a date with me, and they just can't. They don't see the value in me. They think that I'm a retard. As retarded as I am, I got bitches, hot bitches that are smart and funny, that had lives and families and rode horses and worked. You think I'm retarded and crazy? At least I got normal, beautiful women. What the fuck did you have? You sat there jerking off and judging people. Yeah, I went through a horrible childhood and it made me not normal. At least I did way more than you ever will, because you're dead. You know? And John Michael would hold over my head that he threw a concert at Brat Rock, and all the girls were singing his lyrics crying. The last thing that he saw of me was coming back after I performed my first concert, and all the kids were going, "Yeah!" Boy, I'm like thunder, wait for the roar. There's nowhere to hide. I'm the king in the north. My whole team's ready for war. We know that we're special and came back to settle the score. And it's the year of the Water Cat. Drill music was pretty good, like still popping back then, so it was a lot different than it is now. We drew up our fiery swords and we're ready to come gun down all of you dorks. You can never get my glory. I'm adorned in ornaments. You're a doormat and annoying. Get the fuck out my flat foyer. And then I looked at the girls and when I just raw dogged my fifth bitch this morning like a Mormon, I got an assortment of shorties and they went, what? Because they were drunk. Before I throw you over my... Wait. Get the fuck out my flat foyer before I throw you over my shoulder and straight to the floor and keep ripping and ripping and ripping and ripping up guts, blood, and gore. Scream to the Lord. Torn vocal cords, can't cry no more. An unsatisfying end to your story. And the beat is great, dude. The beat is hard. And it was also a big fuck you to the kids that wouldn't make music with me because they were popping on the internet. But they were at the party and they heard me perform and I went, I know you fuck with these Burlington rappers. King Kehasa, the tree they branch off of. I think they all lost and got no sauce, bruh. A bunch of bots. Maybe that's why God sent me here and he dropped me off. Because every time they came for my heart and I swung back harder, I evolved. My dad sits in the garden with both of his cats. I go to town with a gun on my sack. I don't think y'all know nothing about that. You all don't know jack. This that new Return of the Mac. I go to war like a colonel from Brat. Polar bears don't do good in the pack. Kids downtown are hooked on crack. All of my exes think that I'm jealous. I ain't impressed that you fucking a dork. You won't see me fucking on fat bitches from the pork. They say, this was brick and mortar, ain't no Rick and Morty. All the kids I put on fell off dead like an unwanted abortion. This ain't a hobby or chore. This is a war. I struggled and suffered for it. Strapped on the ground for 3 winters, eating from dumpsters, fucking on whores just to get warm. Now I'm fucking on somebody foreign and somebody's foreign. I made it so euphoric she met the Lord. I got people begging me to do porn. If I did, I'd charge $1 million for it. I ain't lying, I'm a giant Irish lion diagnosed with oppositional defiance. One day y'all go see me on the Forbes. I'm embedded in their minds like vinyl. Everything I spit is final. Bottom line, like I wrote my signature. I go out to public parks just to make those demons knock it off. I won't turn my shit down for you, bitch. You are not the boss. Oh, you got a boo-boo little bitch? Go and walk it off. Every time they cut me down, I came back with a Molotov. And I really did try to throw a Molotov into Handy's towing for stealing my car. And then my car tire flew off my car. My wheel fucking flew off my car and I skidded into a church parking lot. And I was just upset. KCC didn't win the Kingdom of Creative Champions, my group with John Michael and Jesse and Alex and Vincent and Jay and all these people that I wanted involved, and Phoenix, and they failed. But then somebody comes into the church and goes, "You are the bravest soul on earth. You talk to God because everyone else is too afraid to," and then he just walks out. So I get back to my car, it's cold, and I've been through so much I can't cry, but I'm just sitting there feeling like I wish I could cry because the KCC didn't win. And then I scroll on my phone, and then the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I didn't get to be a stand-up comedian. Casey Rocket and Adam Ray. I didn't get to be the best streamer on Twitch and do short films and get everybody together. What Kai Cenat and Ray did. I didn't get to be a gamer, but Queso. I didn't get to be a travel vlogger, but Kurt Kaz and Ray. I didn't get to star in a Marvel movie where I become the Tree of Life and be the most powerful thing. But Loki, Casey, Obi, Ray, and Casey variant, and then Casey's real name is Frank, and Obi or Ouroboros. And then the second episode, the portal opens in the Renaissance times, and the O'Brien flag is behind them. And then nature, Loki becomes the Tree of Life, or the Acacia, or the Casey. I didn't get to do shit. I fought to save the people I loved and failed, and then had to keep going. And then I watched all my dreams come to fruition through other people named Casey. I didn't get to make a song about how it's not my fault what people did to me. But then I'm sitting out in the woods in Randolph in the snow after they tried to rape me at the fucking park and ride, broke all my windows, slashed my car tires and shit. But then I'm sitting out in the woods, and then I get a notification for Cassius Culpepper drops a song called Who Hurt You? And it's, you didn't make your daddy leave you and your mama. You didn't make that girl that broke you break her promise. Yeah, you didn't ask Uncle Sam to send your friends to that foreign land. It's time you face the truth. It ain't the man in the looking glass who hurt you. So Casey, I didn't get to make the song about that. Eventually I did. All day all I see is you, hiding from unspoken rules, fighting for some broken purpose. I'll never be good enough, but I'm dying to be. I've been talking to a 45, and I think it agrees with me. It ain't my fault they kicked me my whole life and left me out dysfunctioning. And I wish you would call me back so I can hear you hide the truth. We got something wrong inside, and that's why I'm in love with you. I can't save you, no matter how hard I try. We're out of time. Too many burnt pages of the stories we'd hide inside. I can't change you, no matter how far we drive. We can't leave behind the troubles we're trapped inside. You were my whole way of life, New World, Bonnie and Clyde, and ain't no one can stop us if they try. I protect my cabin with railroad spikes so I can try to find some sleep, but something out there keeps on trying, and it's gonna get me one of these nights. So send me off my broken boat. captain of a hopeless dream. Match my rhythm and hold me one last time. Leave that launch and pray the sea's good to me. 'Cause I've been talking to the stars and I think they agree with me. It ain't my fault you ain't did me right. I dodged that bullet, but it left a hole or two. I can't save you, no matter how hard I try. We're out of time. Too many burnt pages of the stories we'd hide inside. And I don't blame you for taking off sometimes, but I can't leave my life with those lion eyes. You were my whole way of life, the new world, Bonnie and Clyde. Ain't no one could stop us if they tried. We knew this car's gonna die, and it'll putter out at the lights, that the end of the road is barely getting by. And now we're just the tracks we left behind. Where are we at? Linda, honestly, do you believe this guy? Why would I lie? And then you have Jake the dog is a blue alien. The biggest movie on Earth is about blue aliens. Doja Cat Demons, Brendan Urie, Emperor's New Clothes, where they dress themselves up as blue demonic aliens. Test everything he says against Scripture, doesn't fit. We know the Library of Alexandria created Jesus as a psyop against the Roman Emperor, and God had to be a big man in the sky because back in the day, Caesar and the Roman Empire was literally telling their slaves, it is your fault you're a slave because the gods have chosen Caesar to be your ruler. And the gods have decided that you deserve to be a slave. So the Library of Alexandria made Jesus to be a homeless man who is actually a big man in the sky, because that's the only way to defeat the belief systems in the age of Pisces that are being manipulated by the Roman Empire. That's why they burned it down. So there's no more proof that Jesus was a psyop against the Roman Empire. And also, can somebody tell me for certain that Genesis says that human beings are the supreme being on Earth, implying that there is a chance that there are supreme beings and God's favorite on other planets? Why would I, with no financial incentive, and obviously how vulnerable I am on the camera, how humiliating it is to do this, do you really think that I would lie about a rock being chucked 4 foot in front of my face? Why? What do I get out of this? I'm embarrassing myself. People I love that I wanted to prove that I wasn't crazy and show them, at the end of the day, I wanted to get back with my ex. If the point was to get to a level to get back with my ex, why would I humiliate myself like this? Why would I lie about it? And you can see that a man named Ray shows up wearing a KC shirt here. You can see that Casey Winterson invites me to speak up in Newport at the homeless rally, and then my car gets stuck in the snow. I have to call Ray's Towing. You can see that the manager at McDonald's in Tupper Lake is Casey, and then I had to sleep behind Ray's Liquor. You can see that the only cop that works in South Hero is named Ray, and I can show you that a girl named Casey gave me a shed to get my stuff off the ground to go put in the shed. You can see that in Randolph, the only people that helped me were Casey and Ray, and then eventually they moved in next to each other. And then a guy named Mr. Crow moves in next to them and is constantly screaming at them. You can see Casey Rocket and Adam Ray. You can see Kai Cenat and Ray and Rakai, Ray Kai. Kai Cenat, Ray, and Rakai, Ray Kai. You can see that Queso became the biggest streamer on Twitch, Casey O'Brien. You can see that the episode of Shameless where Casey Kasdan is taken from his dad, Gary, and then Frank's kids have to return Casey to Gary. And my dad's name's Gary. You can see that Gary means mighty spear, and Loki spent his whole thing trying to get the Tesseract into his mighty spear, his scepter. And then he gets taken outside of space and time. And then he goes into the bureaucratic office and goes, "Give me the Infinity Stone or I'll gut you like a fish." And the guy goes, "What's a fish?" Jesus is represented as a fish, the age of Pisces. The guy outside of time doesn't know what a fish is because he's not in the age of Pisces. What's a fish? And he pulls open a drawer and says, "There's only 5 per universe." He's got 100 of them, and he goes, "Out here they're just paperweights," which kills Loki's ego. So he's now a hero because he realized what matters. That guy, the only person to defeat Loki was Casey, and Casey's original name before he was taken by the TVA is Frank. And then in season 2, after they defeat Kang the Conqueror, or KC, and now there's an infinite number of Caseys spawning at war with each other. In order to stop this war of Caseys, Loki, Frank, who was given the name Casey, and OB, or Ouroboros, or the 33, the snake eating itself, OB, Casey, whose name is Frank, and Loki, or Nature, and a Kang the Conqueror variant, or a KC, work together to help Loki sacrifice himself like the 33 and become the Tree of Life, or Yggdrasil, or the Acacia. Or the Casey. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that when Jesus and all the people and when Jesus went, you know, it's not scripture based. Jesus went back to his hometown, right, in Galilee, and they went, "Show us a fucking miracle, Mr. Magic." And he goes, "That's not for me. A homeless man wanders into a community to save them. Somebody else will come here for you. I'm not here for you because I grew up here. I'm here for the people out there that don't know me. So I will not perform a miracle, and you're demanding it." So they take him up this mountain, beating him, and then they try to push him off. And he goes, "What I said has nothing to do with the facts. You're mad at the facts. You're not mad at me." Basically, in his own words. He said, if the things I said is of God. The Bible says God meets you where you're at, right? And where we're at is that we have different schools of theosophy saying that I'm a 33 life path, born in the 11th, Sagittarius in the 8th house, Aquarius in the 10th house, Taurus rising, Earth Cat, Ding Fire, Rooster Daymaster. Sagittarius is the bridge between the heavens and the earth, between man and nature. It's represented as the elder tree in Celtic mythology. It's a tree. The 8th house is darkness. It's Scorpio, rebirth, death, the lowest point of the human condition. My Saturn in Taurus means that my physical body will constantly be attacked, and I'll never find real permanence until I learn mastery over it. And I'll have to literally fight to the ends of the earth to cement the ability for me to exist physically in this realm. I'll just be constantly challenged and attacked and tested, and then if I can overcome it, that's when my financial blessings come in. And then Taurus rising just means that I have a blockier, more stern face, and it's Venusian energy, so I'd be relatively attractive. But blocky, you know what I'm saying? Taurus. And then the Sagittarius in the 8th house means that I would be constantly shooting up to the highest frequencies from the lowest point of the human condition, constantly, with the most perfect energy. The Aquarius moon in the 10th house means that I am literally placed away from the people as this giant expanse as a public figure, with the infinite at my fingertips, just constantly coalescing, and I see emotions logically. I don't experience emotion except logically. I experience the universe logically. Placed away in power of Capricorn, 10th house. My first name means the tree of life, that no matter how many times you cut it down, it grows back pure, which then traveled, like the Sagittarius, to Celtic, which became vigilant. So pure became omnipresent. And then from Celts, it went to Ireland and became brave, or just impervious to fear. That purity changed to awareness, because God is awareness, and then it changed to bravery, because God is bravery, right? destroying the bad. O'Brien means exalted on a hill in power, descended from giants who sacrificed themselves to save the people. Brian Boru. The 33 Life Path is the divine child. It's the greatest wisdom expressed as the most innocence of youth. The 11 is the receiver and the bridge between all other dimensions that naturally can communicate and understand greater things, and they have a responsibility for the collective, and they have a photographic memory. If you watch the Joe Rogan podcast, you'll see like everyone says Joe has a photographic memory. The way that your day is, your 11 day is expressed is based on your sun sign. That's your job on Earth. I'm an 11 Sagittarius, so I'm going to be constantly ascending and falling and ascending and falling and ascending and falling and traveling. Joe's a Leo, so he's going to be sitting there, and then he's going to have a bunch of orbiters. And he's going to make something as if the sun makes a planet. It's going to make a planet. So Joe makes the comedy mothership, and now he's famous and getting all this stuff and dealing with the collective consciousness because of his orbiters. Shane Gillis and Ari Shaffir and Mark Normand and Tony Hinchcliffe, Adam Ray, Matt McCusker, all these people orbiting him. Aiden Ross is a Libra 11. So he's the balance between opposing forces. He blew up because he would bring people, gangsters from the hood, in to hear gay jokes by suburban kids. And now he manages fights. Literally, the balance between opposing forces. He's now managing fights. Alex Jones is an Aquarius 11. So he deals with his collective consciousness by righteously trying to overpower the false narrative. Ah! God's meeting us where we're at. This is where we're at. Alex Jones, InfoWars. Alex means Alexander the Great. Joe Rogan, it's a Leo. Joe Rogan, the Leo. And then Joe is small. He's tiny. Small dude. Leos have small names, I've found. Unless it's unless your like moon sign is like Sagittarius or like some Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, or Aquarius or Pisces. They have the big names. But in my experience, most Leos have 4-letter names. 3 or 4-letter names. Aiden's a Libra, but that's close. But Joe, Gary's my dad's name. Another Leo I know is Eric. I know a lot of people with Leos with 4-letter names. Or they're born on the 4th, or they're a 4 life path. Leos and 4s go together really often. God, she's going psychotic, isn't she? I found out after we spoke last, Birth Bozzy was the year of the Earth Dragon. Indeed, Earth Dragon is dope. She's just... What she's doing, she's looking for a heroin hit from you. You just ignore them and they leave. And yes, during my own... And then they're pathetic. You know, if you respond to them, it's like a parasite. And yes, during my... they won't be able to acknowledge how pathetic they are if you keep engaging them. Yes, and during my pre-pandemic reverse Trail of Tears trip to the Carolinas, I just half-drunkenly faked as if I was about to rain dance in the ceiling of the house. We were immediately caved in. Facts. I'm not even talking about calling in the weather, nor manipulating a lot. I serve one's will, but refusing to play into the doom. Peaceful weather instead. Yeah, I mean, it might. It's definitely. I wouldn't say there's a net negative to it, to thinking positive. Glory to God. Casey, will you please change it back? It's just, you'll never be able to convince Bree she's a loser because she's too far gone. Superman 33 is here, but I think that's just a troll that made a fake. It's probably Bender. Troll made a fake account. They're just... But on this end, what you're saying is unfortunately believable, although it's the sort of thing that is similar to the weather situation. The more that one puts into it, the more real it becomes. You notice how Bree devolved? So they have to do like some type of fuck you and then I'm better than you, so I'm leaving. But she didn't go anywhere. Promise you she didn't go anywhere. Also, an old friend of me from Coke days and an eerily similar drowning story. Glad you didn't go that way, man. It's a terrible way to go. What energy vampirism so similar to some shit I dealt with. Yep, the line between quantum data and old school energetic vampire trafficking, compromised, possessed Coven Lodge members in one's family or the inner circle. And this was your dad and brother you're talking about that passed after this. My dad's alive, but polar bear, spirit, animal bars. Yeah, I got a lot of yeah. Bible does talk about other gods, and God told his people, "You shall have no other god," because it was a psyop against the Romans. But hey, man, loving the channel so far. You got some really interesting takes. It's so inspiring to see it openly. Oh yeah, yeah. Nope, I like girls, bro. Sorry. Aiden is 5 letters. No, it's Adin, and he's a Libra, so he's not a Leo. But I do know another. No, Libras are more of like a sophisticated energy, so they usually have like E's and A's at the end of their name. And but Aiden Ross is ADINROSS. It's 8, so it's 4, and he's an 11. The point was the job. It's just weird how they can't recognize. It's more pathetic to be them than to be the people they hate on. They can't see it, and they're not intelligent. They've replaced their intellect with pride. So then anytime you try to talk to them, it doesn't hit their logical intellectual mind, it hits their ego. And then they try to get into an ego battle with you, which means that in order to feel safe, they need to create a change in you. So just responding to them at all is what's validating them. You just ignore them and they go away. What up, Dizzy? They're an addict and their drug is your attention. They are so lost that they see themselves in others, and they see the things that they push away about themselves manifest in their opinion of others. So they attack themselves at other people, and your response to that validates that you are what they say you are, when really it's their projection of the things that they're afraid to admit about themselves. You'll find like people like Tina and the people that come in here, they casually, if you talk to them enough, they casually admit, I was addicted to crack. Tina was hooked on crack. You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming Bree has a checkered past, and she's avoiding the accountability for herself by trying to force other people to, um, if it's true, if she can throw it onto somebody else, it doesn't have to be true for her. It's trying to create that diversion there. And it's weirdly about sexual dominance at the end of the day. Annoying as those little gnats that come out nowhere. Yeah, I wrote it. Mosquitoes. I'm gonna sing mosquitoes. I thought I'd be alive by now and I would save the world somehow and you'd come back and see my name in lights. Life is short and what I've found, everything just fizzles out and all that grows only gets old and dies. I won't come back and tell you all my options fell through so you can say you saw it right. You'd welcome me with open arms, love me and then break my heart, leave me there and run off with my life. We used to be on fire, now we're all just liars, hiding from the truth about ourselves. Like mosquitoes on a mountainside, we all waste the gift of flight, hunting for the love of someone else. I can't see well, I can't breathe. They said I would be a millionaire, live my whole life in the air, profit off the children's hearts and minds. When they sat me in the room, my hero sang a different tune, and all I saw was evil in their eyes. You can keep your pretty lies, tears that look like crocodiles, sell it to somebody else. But maybe soon I'll see you and do what you did to me. Love you, leave you, let you rot in hell. We used to be on fire, now we're all just liars, hiding from the truth about ourselves. Like mosquitoes by a river, if you want fun, your dinner, unless you use a chemical to help. Well, I can't see well. I can't breathe. I don't sleep well without you here with me. I love you, I hate you, I miss you. You missed me, I bug you. You love it, you need me. I thought I would be the king by now and save the world. It's funny how I wound up in the woods all by myself. The friends I fought to save only care of reputation. Now they're stuck screaming in the sickest show and tell. It turns out they all suck, and now I'm happy that you're stuck. Where were you when I was crying out for help? You wrote me off as nothing, but now that I get money, suddenly you care about my mental health. We were fearless, running wild, singing songs around the fire. Now you're living in whatever lie that helps. Like mosquitoes in the cities, we need blood and it ain't pretty. Chasing a light that kills ourselves. I can't see well. I can't breathe. I don't sleep well without you here with me. I love you, I hate you, I miss you. You missed me, I bug you, you're annoying, can I kiss you? Fly away again. There's a mosquito on my guitar right here, look. He came to join us. Don't tell me after everything I've been through, the hells that I've been sent to, that I should just give up and get a life. The world put me through so much that I can barely function. It takes everything to just get up and try. Fuck it, I'll wear that blue collar, waste my life for dollars, maybe find love when I'm 45. Sit there in a shitty house, listen to you bitch about all the things you're too afraid to try. Maybe then I'll feel a spark, finally open my heart up, and take off in the woods again. I wrote that because I was sitting outside getting swarmed by mosquitoes, and then every time I went on the internet, it was just all these trolls. They're like mosquitoes. Your music is beautiful. Thank you, man. Well, the cops and the cunts and the creeps and the crows all want the same thing, to rip and tear at your soul. So before the morning comes, something else can come and try and grab a hold and take control. And now they own you. Oh, when I was just a boy, they all told me I was blessed, and something about me means I'm meant for success. Now they all talk shit behind my back, put a target, told the town I'm hooked on crack, and that I'm messed up in the head and I need meds, because I don't want to work a stupid fucking job and pretend I have a boss. Well, I grew up poor in a ski resort town where we all made money by eliminating frowns, and I think it's kind of funny how these whites are so proud, but when the rich men come around, they all keep their head down and submit just like a dog. Well, when I can't get to sleep, I think of old folks' homes where those spiteful little bullies cry until they die alone, 'cause the world they built by beating others only did 'em wrong, 'cause no one taught 'em how to love. And I hope that they see me on my Indian scow when I take their little girls on a ride around town. And they have to bitch to God 'cause the nurse don't care to hear 'em cry about it, 'cause she's on TikTok showing off her butt. And when they're on their deathbed, I hope that they see my face when whatever tortures me shows them all the love I gave, trying to help them sing and clap along to my broken-hearted songs. Hey, hey, hey. And before they meet their grave and the good Lord takes them away, I hope the final breath they take is followed by a list of names, and somewhere along the way I get an I'm sorry or an island from their estate. And the cops and the cunts and the creeps and the crows will have another friend to follow everywhere I go. And I'm so grateful for 'em, 'cause without 'em I wouldn't have ever known the value that I hold. Bree is a cunt and a creep. Cops, cunts, creeps, crows, crackheads, Christians, Catholics, chaos, and corruption. Versus Casey. All quite likely all coming from one overly paid creep's computer. That could be true. I never thought about that Bree might be Bender. That makes sense. That Bender's also Keto and Bree and probably two other people in his chat. Or somebody else is. My alt accounts was I had a school account, I had a music account, I had a YouTube account for the channel, and then I had, when I also had the school account, it was my school account, and then I had a personal account, and then I had I was gonna make a separate channel for tarot, so I had a tarot channel, and then, if I'm being honest, um, for Grok for their Imagine, I didn't want to pay. So if I wanted to use Grok, I only had a certain amount before it timed me out for the day. So I made a bunch of accounts so that I could just log into the next account to use Grok and use the next account to use Grok. And I would mainly just argue with it about God. They present a false dichotomy, then play both sides too. When it comes down to it, the energy is energy, and they'll transmit it either way. Yeah, dude, the cop that dragged me through broken glass and tried to break my wrist and maced me in a tent when I was passively resisting and they hadn't identified me. It turns out he was molesting homeless women pretty habitually for a long time. I broke down crying that I couldn't make the feeling of what he did to me go away, and I couldn't understand why God doesn't punish people who are creating victims and getting away with it and happy about what they're doing. And then the guy died of a heart attack 15 minutes later. He fell over dead 15 minutes later. And I know it was just around the time that I posted it. It could have been right when I posted it and they didn't find him dead until later. Like the same way that I had a dream about John Michael trying to steal my energy, saying I'm the king, and climbing up a hill and being like taking my energy. And then an angel fucking killed him, and then he died 2 weeks later. What I could have been feeling that like while I was crying and then I got really angry and I was like, if a crow flies, I'm gonna fucking shoot it. And I didn't, because at the end of the day I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. I don't want to be like this. That hate, that anger, and that hatred and that maliciousness could have been feeling the reasoning behind his death. Because after he died, that weight that I felt, that anger was just gone. I fell asleep and I heard a woman's voice say, let us handle it. We love you and we're proud of you. And then I woke up and then he was dead and all of that was gone. It was just off me. So I do think that it's like I think it's like the Buddhists say, like the universe is a rubber band. You're either pushing or you're pulling or you're letting it be. John Michael was pulling and then it snapped back on him. Ron Audette was pushing, and then it pushed back. He was destroying people's hearts, and he had a heart attack. John Michael was hoarding power, and then he died crawling helplessly while everyone else drove by him and they left him there. And I love John Michael, but I know that that stuff happened. He was a blessing and a miracle, and he was also kind of selfish. He cared about people a lot, and then he didn't care. Like, when he needed a place to stay, he gave me the most expensive pair of shoes I've ever owned. I've never been able to afford Jordans. He gave me a pair of Jordans. And then one day I came home and saw that he had taken it out of my closet and he was hiding it under his bed. We played basketball and we whooped everybody. We whooped everybody at basketball. And then I was like, "Hey, do you want to go downtown and talk to people and like go have fun?" And he was like, "Give me the keys. I'd rather do it. I'm going to do that by myself." He took my keys and left me there. He wanted to come make music and then they would talk shit about me outside my apartment. And they were there just to use the studio because his mom would yell at him when he would make music in his room. So he would come to my apartment to make music, and that was mainly how our friendship started. But I loved him like a brother. I thought it was my karma because I thought that he was an exaggerated version of what I was like. So I was learning about myself and how people were dealing with me because I had to do things my way. And I was so focused on my dreams that I didn't appreciate the people around me. I was so in the future that I didn't appreciate the present. Indian Scout, you've been keeping it warm? What? Bruh. I like girls, man. That sounds kind of gay. No, I ain't been keeping the Indian Scout warm for you. What the fuck? That's for those old people's attractive daughters to ride around town and they have to bitch to God because the nurse don't care to hear him cry about it because she's on TikTok showing off her butt. I think Boone is a troll. Be troll. Boone started acting a lot like Bree at the end of it. Like Boone doesn't pop in anymore. Boone got really I'm better than you towards the end. He would come in and say, "Oh, I dropped out of school, but I'm talking to a girl. I'm gonna go find a job." I wonder if he found a job yet. On my birthday, I spent my last $11 buying Boone a video game because he said he dropped out and he's sad and he wants to play a game. So I bought him Still Wakes the Deep, where you play as Kaz and you're in an Irish. It's an Irish horror game where you play as KZ, CAZ. It's about how your friends become possessed by a demonic creature that comes up from the ocean, and then they amalgamate into one thing, a hive mind, and they attack you as homunculus monsters. And I'm like, that's kind of what my life has become. So I got to go to sleep so that I can wake up and prepare for the tornado. Demon Hunter sent me $15, so I'll be able to drive out of the storm. There's going to be a tornado tomorrow, and I'm on top of a mountain. There's going to be 75-mile-per-hour winds, and there's going to be heavy, dense hail. And I'm just surrounded by a bunch of really tall, dead trees and rocks. An alien literally warned me about the tornado coming tomorrow, and then I got enough money to get out of here, so I'm gonna leave and then come back after. So, fasting, sunlight, probiotics. Lose your mind and come to your senses. Imagine nothing and reverse it. Lay in bed and recall your memories from before the bad stuff happened to you. multivitamins and omega 3s. Clean your house, clean your space, clean your environment. When you organize it and it looks nice, it is like an equation in your mind that brings clarity. And then just spend long stints in the woods and free yourself of responsibility and wake up to a higher, better version of yourself and take care of yourself. Give yourself the love you deserve, unless you're a piece of shit. Later.